According to the ancient tales of Ulster, King Conor had 3 palaces at a place called Owen Maka. Well, this is Owen Maka, and massive traces of ancient settlement have been found on that hilltop over there, and on top of another hill over there, but no one's yet had a chance to look at the middle hill. Time Team have got just 3 days. Are we going to find King Conor's 3rd palace? Started then, Phil?
Just about, Tony. Yeah.
One of the main reasons for excavating here is that this area features in a famous collection of Irish stories called the Toyne.
Yeah.
Mick, I found this bit in the Toyne that says Conor's household was very handsome. He had 3 houses, the Red Branch, the Twinkling Hoard and the Ruddy Branch.
Yeah.
And this place is called...
Creve Row, the Red Branch.
Yeah.
So are we going to find a palace here?
Well, we're going to try and have a good look for one.
There are marks on the air pictures here, aren't there?
There are,
Chris?
yes.
Which is why we've decided to go for this. I mean, there's a couple of parallel lines, which look archaeological, don't they?
They do, and they seem to be part of some big landscape feature that splits the whole Navan area north-south for a distance of maybe half a kilometre.
Yeah.
So it doesn't line up with any modern landscape features. It doesn't seem to be a road. It's not going anywhere in particular, so it seems to be something ancient.
These are the faint crop marks showing on the aerial pictures, which give us a good archaeological reason for digging here. They appear to be about 30 metres long and could be parallel ditches or possibly a palisaded entrance to a settlement.
I mean, that rather implies a palace or something like that, doesn't it? I mean, I thought initially we perhaps ought to be up on the hill at the top there, but it's actually too sharp a feature, so, you know, they're not likely to be built
it seems
up
to be
there.
the slopes are too steep on either side.
Yeah.
But the area of Creve Row extends beyond the hill itself into this flat land where we're working
Well, this
now.
is a much better platform here, isn't it, with this where we're opening the trench up now.
As soon as we get that...
We can't be sure which period stories like the Toyne relate to, as they were passed down through the centuries by word of mouth before being written down for the first time around the 7th or 8th centuries AD. Do you think it's just coincidence that this place is called Red Branch and that they've got the Red Branch in the Toyne?
Well, it's obviously not coincidence. There's some connection. But how far back it would go, I wouldn't like to say.
That's what we hope this trench will produce.
What do you think some romantic middle-aged monk might have thought, oh, well, this is likely to be the place where the Red Branch was, so we'll call it the Red Branch?
I think it's very possible.
Our field at Creve Row is situated here, in the middle of a massive late Bronze Age, early Iron Age landscape at Navan, just outside Armagh in Northern Ireland. And the discovery of the 2 big hilltop settlements, Haughey's Fort and Navan Fort, which date from 1100 BC to 94 BC, have prompted speculation that these could be 2 of the palaces featured in the Toyne. So according to these stories, there was this ancient kingship place called Owen Maka.
Yes.
It was ruled over by King Conor, who had this hero called Cuchulainn.
Yes, and ruled all of what is now Ulster, basically.
And Cuchulainn went around killing virtually everybody he could.
Yes, this collection of stories, the Toyne, demonstrates the kind of cultural background of the people that lived here. It's the story of a gigantic cattle raid from Connaught by the followers of Queen Maeve, which I think is rather good. And it's an excuse for recounting all the doings of these 2 heroes and the ultimate victory of the Ulstermen.
Centred around this one place. It's a bit like
That's right.
Camelot or Troy, isn't it?
Yes, except that Camelot never really existed, whereas Owen Maka as the royal, as possibly also the religious capital of Ulster, very definitely did. And that's the fascinating thing about this collection of stories. Unlike something like Homer's Odyssey and so on, it's much more tied in to the existing landscape. We can go and try and trace the various places that are mentioned in it.
So all this area around here is the territory of Owen Maka.
That's right.
Well, this weekend should provide a great opportunity to explore some of the references in the Toyne. But is it realistic to try and find a palace site in just 3 days? The Time Team's approach will be simply to concentrate on the archaeology that's there, to look for features that might produce evidence of new settlements, but even if not, we'll fill in some of the gaps and tell us more about what was happening in this enormous ritual landscape.
I was just looking at these 2 photographs over here, and there's something quite interesting showing up on these. There's Navan.
Yeah.
This shows up on there quite well. There's Hockey's Fort. But further west, can you see that circular field pattern there?
Oh,
Just, just there, with a dark line coming out, which might be a continuation of a circular enclosure, a bit like Hockey's Fort. You see there's a dark line coming out.
Coming round as a line like that.
Yeah, I was looking at this other photograph, the same area.
That's a lower level one.
It is, yeah, it's a lot clearer. Look, you can see it quite dramatically there, can't you?
Gosh, yes. And you can see that you can see the shadows cast by the trees there from the low sun. So that looks as if that might be a bank in the field there, casting a shadow that way as well. That looks really rather promising, actually, doesn't it? Yes.
I mean, there is this reference to three hills in the Toyne, so maybe...
Yes, everyone's sort of thinking that the third one's Creve Row in the middle of it. Maybe it's further out there.
Yeah, so they're equidistant.
The geophysics team will no doubt be delighted if we've got yet another site for them to deal with this weekend. In addition to surveying our field at Creve Row, they've been asked by Chris Lynn to do some work around Hockey's Fort, in the hope that we can learn more about some possible ditches which are showing up as crop marks and appear to be part of the defences of the settlement.
This landscape, and as if that wasn't enough, on this photo we've got an enclosure right out here which is as far away from Hockey's Fort, the other side of Hockey's Fort, as Hockey's Fort is from Navan. So we've made the area sort of twice as big as we were.
That's right.
Do you know about that one, Chris?
Well, we know of it as a site, but we haven't seen any such good air photographic evidence. And certainly it's a site that, in the sort of research that's gone on, we've queried, what is this? It's a place called Ballydoo. There's a Tamlocht place named near it, which suggests it might have ecclesiastical connotations, but it'll be very old.
Yeah.
But what's the tendency sort of for, I mean, Creve Row, is that a name that's like to have been given to this area, bearing in mind the fact that the Knights of the Red Branch turn up in the Toyne, or is it like to be original name? Because it bothers me.
Well, you would like to think that the name is a survival from the time when the tales...
Oh, hang on.
Oh, Phil, yeah, this Mick. Over.
You catch us at a rather exciting moment. Over.
Go on then, what have you got to tell us?
Got a teeth bullio axe.
Get out, what, a Neolithic axe?
The best?
It's all Neolithic, I told you, it's all Neolithic.
Come on, what's your reaction to that then?
Super.
We're just looking at each other here, and Chris has just said super over.
What sort of condition is it in?
It's superbly ground. I mean, there's no evidence of the actual flaking left, and there's a fairly substantial chunk missing out of the blade, so I guess that's why they threw it away. Over.
The Time team are clearly excited because this is an object which you just don't find every day. But this stone axe comes from the Neolithic period, which is at least 1,000 years before the late Bronze Age, early Iron Age period we're interested in, the era when we think Connor's palaces may have existed. What's more, the axe was only found in the top soil here, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the feature we're investigating at Creve Row will turn out to be Neolithic in date. Nevertheless, the Time team still feel it's a significant find. Why?
People were able to sort of reinvest these monuments in each new age, each new generation, continue to re-sanctify them and do their own thing inside them. And it's only logical to presume that this sacred landscape had its origin in the Neolithic.
The Neolithic, I mean, in Wessex you get these huge Neolithic sacred landscapes with everything we've got here, basically.
Yes.
So the story could have been Celtic people moving into an earlier ritual.
Yeah, and I don't think people necessarily move in. I mean, you've got a landscape that might be Neolithic and Bronze Age, which goes on being used into the Iron Age, goes on being used until...
And then St Patrick arrives.
And then St Patrick arrives.
And
Armagh becomes the cathedral, and it's just a logical ritual
progression,
ceremonial centre. Yeah.
I'm so jealous of Phil. I've always wanted to find a grand stone axe.
Sometimes at first, I must admit I find it difficult to be quite so enthusiastic about a lump of stone like this. Although once it's cleaned up and Victor's finished with it, it's easier to appreciate that it's a valuable piece of archaeological evidence. But anyway, time for lunch, and I'm keen to get the discussion back to palaces and the idea that literature like the Toyne can be useful to archaeology.
The tales really give you a hint of the culture, the philosophy and the life that lies behind the archaeology, which, again, the archaeology can never do.
And I think it's difficult to treat this material, as a documentary source. It's certainly not history. It's not pretending to be.
I think we're looking for a settlement because it says there's a king's palace in that book at that point. I think that's very dangerous to try and constrain the archaeology into finding what we're specifically looking for. We've just got to look at what's there and try and understand it against whatever evidence we have for making sense of it.
Yeah, but nevertheless, in Homer, when he described the ancient palace site of Mycenae, something like that did turn up. And
yeah, but the problem with that sort of thing is that then conditions Sleeman to go and just dig up what was in Homer, and he smashes through all sorts of other material that he's not interested in to try and relate the stories to the archaeology. It would have been better to do the archaeology independently.
At the Navan Centre, which is our base for the weekend, the public can see an interpretation of the archaeology discovered here so far. In particular, the complicated sequence of occupation which has been discovered under the mound at Navan Fort. Here you can see the evidence for a whole series of large round houses which were built one after the other.
These houses had large enclosures attached to the northern sides, and they were approached by palisaded droveways. And they seem to have extended from about 350 BC down to 94 BC.
Could these Bronze Age and Iron Age houses have been the palaces of the kings of Ulster? Well, certainly some of the finds suggest that this was an important place during this time.
That's the skull of a Barbary ape, which seems to have been brought to the site in the Iron Age, and it must have come from the Mediterranean, and proves that the occupants of the site at that time were of such high prestige that they were getting gifts, in fact, fit for a king, being brought from as far away as the Mediterranean lands.
So, all of these things were excavated from here, and we're digging just across this hill here at Creve Row.
Phil! This is Ted Loughran, as a local farmer.
How do you do?
Hello, Phil. Anxious to meet you. I wanted to see how you were getting on, really, because having seen the axe, I haven't been here since this morning.
Right.
So
well, things are looking pretty good now. See, we got these nice linear feature running right the way across the site. That's the thing that they picked up on the geophysics.
Right.
And the fills, we got two different fills. We got this nice stone-free material running along this side, and then on that side of the ditch, we got quite a stony fill.
Yeah.
So it's that one is resolving itself quite nicely.
And what sort of finds have come out of this?
Not a lot at the minute. I mean, we're still plenty high enough.
Yeah. I mean, this looks lovely soil to me.
It's very productive soil.
Yeah. I mean, this is what, limestone?
Limestone, yes.
Yeah.
You will get a lot of that in this area. The country is just peppered with limestone.
Right. Yeah, it's almost as if they've gone for this area because there's
yes,
good
no
land.
question they would have chosen this area deliberately because of the productive quality of the soil.
Yeah.
And then originally, it would have been in the church hands, and any ground that was in church hands was always well looked after.
Right. That's good.
Any road, come and have a look at the other
let's
trench.
go.
It's very similar, actually.
Yeah.
In both of our trenches here, we found evidence of what appear to be parallel ditches, but at this stage it's too early to say what they might be. Curiously, though, this second trench has started producing finds associated with metalworking.
See, that's the bottom of the furnace, isn't it?
Oh, one of these blooms.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
It is indeed.
But we've got no idea of knowing the date of this, although except presumably it's not recent, is it? It's not going to be in the last couple hundred years.
Oh, God, no, I shouldn't have thought so.
Yeah.
No.
And this bit with knobbles on it.
Yeah.
So the mystery continues in our two trenches at Creve Row, while at Hoffy's Fort, which is the field on top of the hill in the distance, we now have a new excavation underway. It's to test our geophysics results. These show what might be the remains of a gateway linking the fort with another contemporary monument in this landscape, a Bronze Age sacrificial pool rather strangely named the King's Stables.
Have you got anything out of this yet, you chaps?
No,
anything coming out?
Come out at the moment.
No flints or anything like that?
No, we have one piece of flint, but it's natural flint at the moment. It's come out.
Right. So we've obviously got to go.
We've got to, I'm afraid, bash on into this.
Get down there, yeah.
The geophysics team have moved on and are now busy surveying the site at Ballydoo that was spotted by Stuart, and they hope to have some results for us tomorrow. From the air, it's easy to see the C-shaped field hedge that seems to continue as an earthwork forming a possible enclosure like this. Is this our third palace settlement? Well, hopefully we'll find out tomorrow, but having chosen to work here as well, it does mean that we're now stretched between Ballydoo and Navan, over a mile away.
Continuing with the two trenches at Creevero, right, Phil?
It's a lot of work you're mounting up, but carry on. Yeah.
This is digging there, right?
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, yeah, that's not work at all.
It's the end of day one, and as you can see, there's this vast amount of things which we could possibly do. Everyone seems really exhausted and a bit dispirited, quite honestly. I think it's something to do with the fact this is a massive site. It's by far the biggest thing that time teams ever had to tackle. Just getting from over here to over there seems to take half the day, and so it's very difficult to know what everyone else is doing, and there's all these little bits of evidence which are like bits of a jigsaw that don't fit together. I think I'm going to suggest pretty soon that we have a bit of a breather and think about it tomorrow morning. There's this great bit in the Toyne that says, the men of Ulster were with Connor in Owen Maka one time, drinking from a big vat. It could hold 100 measures of coal black drink, enough to fill all the men for the whole evening at one sitting. I think I'm going to suggest that we try a bit of that coal black drink. See you after the break. Day 2, and the first excitement of the day comes from our new site at Ballydoo, where the geophysics team have found clear evidence of a ditch which is following the line of the earthwork first spotted by Stuart.
So in fact, basically our results are fitting in with the crop mark evidence and also completing the circuit, we think, as well.
And this stuff here?
Well, that's the
Is that this mound?
It is this mound.
You see, there's quite an obvious lump there as well.
You see,
on the end here.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a ploughed out barrow or something like that, you know.
I mean, I thought that was natural when we came in the field.
Well, it might be.
It may well be. But the thing is, it is situated right in the enclosure.
I mean, I think you see that the possibility with this is that it might be the third site in this line.
My third palace?
Well, it could be. I mean, even if it isn't, it's another part of this complex landscape. You know, it might be contemporary with Navan. I mean, it could be another fort, it could be another enclosure of some sort. But this looks too important to just walk away from there.
Well,
it's
completely unexpected, I think.
Where would we dig the trench? I mean, as a punter, I must say I would want to have a look and see what was on that little knoll.
Well, but you see, in terms of dating it, we might be better somewhere in the ditch where there's going to be stratified stuff down below, and that will give us the date it was built. If we could get a trench somewhere that combined the two, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But in a way, we need the resistance done first so that we can see, you know, how that fits in. Hang on, I've got one as well.
So if this turned out this could turn out to be the third hill, couldn't it?
Try this
one,
Tony, look. This
that's far too complicated for me. All right.
It's nice and coloured though, you see. There's Navan.
Yeah.
There's Creevero that we're digging at. There's Hockey's Fort.
Yeah.
And there's this one.
So maybe this is nothing, and is just called Red Branch because someone at some later date thought that it might be the Red Branch Hill, and those three could actually be the hill.
That's the possibility. There's nothing else quite like this round here. You know, it's not that we've picked one of a selection. The next sort of things are miles away.
So what we need now is permission. The arrangement so far is just for geophysics here. But how will the farmer feel about us digging a large hole in his field? We've just geophysed the field, or rather, Chris has. And as you can see, we've found this strange-looking ditch thing round it, and also evidence of something under that little lump just behind you there. And we wanted to ask you a big favour, which is if we could dig an exploratory ditch somewhere.
That's okay. No problem.
Okay.
Well, that was easy, wasn't it?
We thought you might say no. You know, crowds coming in or something.
Not even a struggle.
Obviously, we'd fit it all in. By using a different geophysical technique called resistivity, targeted on just one strip of the field, the geophysics team hope to quickly produce a more detailed picture of the archaeology underground, which will help us put our trench in the best possible place. Robin, meanwhile, has gone to the Archbishop's Library in Armagh and is hoping to find the origins of some of the place names we're investigating this weekend.
Oh, I see, yes. It's got this site of Navan, basically. This is 1819, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yes. The ruins of Owen Maka were visible in O'Flaherty's day and were spoken of by Colgan and by Camden, who corrupts the name. There is a townland near the Navan Hill which is yet denominated Creve Row. That's the earliest reference I found to it being named as such, which in English letters expresses the very sound designated in the Irish characters, the Red Branch. And then he goes on, there is an adjoining townland called Tray. Now that is what I think we're looking at as far as Hockey's Fort is concerned. A mound which in form resembles this figure and is universally denominated the King's Stables. Oh, that's interesting. So they're referring to the mound as the King's Stables rather than the artificial pond, which we're also looking at.
Well, I suppose it is possible that a mistake could have been made by someone while drawing up a new map of this area, and it would certainly explain how the sacrificial pool called the King's Stables got such a peculiar name. There are, in fact, 2 ritual pools in this landscape, the second being Loch na Shard, which is located here and is associated with Navan Fort. Amazingly, it still survives, despite the quarrying around it, and it was here that 4 bronze horns were found in the 1790s. This is a replica of one of them, and although it dates to the Iron Age, it clearly shows how sophisticated bronze working had become.
As you can see, it's beautifully made, 2 tapering cylinders of bronze, carefully riveted together with a beautiful semicircular curve, and then this great sort of end piece decorated in the sort of Celtic Lot 10 style, also welded onto the end of the horn.
You feel it. It's wafer thin. Thin, isn't it?
So
it's all been beaten out into a very, very thin sheet of bronze, and then this beautiful pattern beaten into it.
Using the same primitive technology, we thought it would be interesting to put on a demonstration to show the kind of effort and skill that would have gone into making something like this. However, Cormac, our bronzesmith, has complicated matters somewhat by deciding that he'll only speak in Gaelic.
Yeah. And that's been...
Búltamach leis an cosúr.
What? Now hang on,
Sin cosúr. Hammer.
Hammer. I was going to say, I think you understand me, but I don't seem to understand you. What are we making then?
It's a disc.
A disc?
A disc, yeah. Agus fóragus stig a loch na séide. An sin.
So basically then we're making this bit.
Uh-huh.
So how big's this going to be?
So
we're going to come... Well, it's got to be beaten out quite a lot yet then.
Yeah. A lot of work.
And that's been put in the furnace?
Yeah,
What, just lay it in, do you? Or work it down in amongst the embers? Just stick it down in amongst the embers?
Yeah,
good old heat in there, isn't there? Well, I assume you're just saying put it down in amongst the embers, yeah. And how would that take long to heat back up again?
No, not really, no.
Pretty immediate, is it?
Yeah. Maybe a few.
Hey?
So that's stop it. You can stop. And
you can stop?
Yeah. Have a rest.
Hey, you're a local chap. Do you understand what he says?
Not quite.
Not quite.
Not all the time.
Ah, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's in the dark about it, that's for sure. Any road, let's see you beat out a bit more of it then.
Cormac will spend the rest of today beating the metal to the right thickness and size, ready for the decoration to be added tomorrow. At our original site at Creve Row, life is not only quieter, but progress is faster. Trench 1 has nearly uncovered the bottom of the ditch and has started to produce important finds.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's bone remains coming out, and
really?
we're also getting, I mean, most interesting of all is this piece of pottery. Yeah, it's a club rim, coarse handmade.
What sort of date do you reckon?
Well, I mean, conventionally we would probably put this at late Bronze Age, as well as the bone. So
do you think this is domestic stuff?
Well, this looks like domestic debris that's found its way into the
ritual.
Yeah, so that, I mean, the material has found its way in from a settlement close by.
This is a reconstruction of that bit of pottery. It comes from a late Bronze Age cooking pot, but it's very different to the finds coming out of our second trench at Creve Row.
This is another piece of pottery. It's just come out of this other one.
Oh.
Oh,
that looks a
very thin
slightly
wall.
better made piece than the other bit, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's substantially later than that one, unfortunately.
Oh,
That would
what
probably
sort of date,
mean
you
that.
reckon?
Well, I mean, it could be inverted rimware, which would mean that it's early medieval.
This bit of medieval pottery would probably have come from a pot that looked like this. But it means that we now have two pots coming from parallel ditches which come from periods almost 2,000 years apart. So even though we started work here first, we still have a mystery on our hands at Creve Row. However, the geophysics team have extended their survey and have a theory about what might be happening.
This is where you're digging now. These black marks are where the high readings came up and we put the trenches across there. But they reckon there might be an enclosure which comes round like that. And they're particularly interested in this circular structure here, which is about 12 metres across and could be, well, either a ring ditch of a burial mound or a hut circle. We could perhaps put a trench across that, see if it's really there, see what it is. Well, so if you can get that measured out on the... I'll leave you with the geophysics plot, okay?
We can't afford scissors.
The workload for the geophysics team this weekend is immense. While half of them have been concentrating on Creve Row, the rest have been hurrying to give us some resistance data for Ballydu.
We've surveyed the same area with the resistance. And I mean, the really exciting thing, we seem to be getting a second ditch inside.
It's even clearer than the first ditch,
I mean, it is very clear on that. So, I mean, if we have got two ditches, that will be really good. So they've decided to put the trench at right angles to both of them.
So we should get both ditches in the
Well, I hope
trench.
they will.
So with more geophysics information to guide us, our first trench gets underway at our new site, Ballydu. Hopefully, this excavation will discover not only the ditches, but also dating evidence to prove that this could have been a Bronze Age or Iron Age palace site. Meanwhile, on the next hill along, at Hohys Fort, our excavation has achieved everything it set out to do. Not only has it found evidence of the gateway linking Hohys Fort with the King's Stables, but we've also started to find bits of late Bronze Age pottery.
This is our first bit then, is it?
Yes, that's the first piece there.
Oh, wow.
That pottery is dating to about 1100
Yeah.
BC. That's the typical
That
bucket
is
shaped courseware
brilliant.
pottery from here.
Brilliant.
This piece comes from the rim of a pot which would have looked like this and confirms that the gateway is late Bronze Age in date and contemporary with Hohys Fort.
Here we have this sort of coarse metal surface, which we
Yeah.
think is some sort of walkway.
That's what we were saying earlier on, and yeah, I mean, that looks very, very good now, doesn't it?
Yes, and this with the ditch starting to terminate here, and we are picking up something else in the corner here until that is removed.
And you got natural again on the other side.
Yes, with the possible evidence of small stake hole, post hole came up, and we haven't fully excavated there, but we'll see that this year's delineating the walkway itself in the trench.
That's brilliant.
This will be great news for Chris, because the discovery of a gateway here in the middle ditch of Hohys Fort strengthens the idea of a connection with the sacrificial pool at the King's Stables. So you reckon there would have been people standing around here and lobbing stuff?
Yeah, well, I think
into it?
if you're going to make an offering, you want to make a bit of a splash and call attention to the fact that this is what you're doing.
How do we know this is Bronze Age, though, Chris?
Well, we know because 20 years ago we had an opportunity to do a little trial trench just on the edge of it.
Right.
And we found Bronze Age sword moulds, fragments of red deer antlers, masses of chopped twigs, the facial part of a human skull, and the forequarters of a dog, which had evidently been thrown in intact. And I mean, this is a little trench which is only really about 1% of the whole area of the monument. We also got charcoal from a little cross section through the bank around the edge of the thing, and that again dated to about 1000 BC. So you know everything tied up very, very neatly indeed.
So it suggests the hole and the bank are being built around about
And
that
you get the
time.
same conjunction of water and fire.
That's right.
That you get at Navan.
Yeah.
And if we're right and we've got a little exit to Hohys Fort here,
Hohys Fort,
leading down to this pool, it really ties the fort in with the pool.
You can imagine these processions.
So now, not only can Victor recreate a picture of how this sacrificial pool might have looked around 1100 BC, but he can also add a reconstruction of how one of the gateways could have looked to the people in the Bronze Age as they passed through it on their way from Hoff's Fort to the King's Stables at the bottom of the hill. Meanwhile, at our new site, Ballydoo, Stuart is excited about a discovery he's made while surveying the existing field boundary.
It gets narrower at the bottom.
Is this all stuff the farmers hiked out of the fields, presumably, isn't it?
This is really what I want you to look at before I get any further. Have you seen on this boulder here?
Oh, crikey.
You've seen this very right sweeping curve coming to a right angle.
Yeah.
It's mirrored by this one here. And it's been broken off here.
It has, yes.
How do you think about it as prehistoric rock art?
I mean,
it is a carved stone.
It's a carved stone,
yes.
isn't it? I mean, that is incredible,
no
isn't it?
I think.
It is.
I mean, you're happy with it being a carved
stone?
yes.
There's no doubt about
it's not
that,
a
is it,
Christian
Chris?
symbol of any description, is it?
Not at first glance, no, it doesn't remind me of anything at all.
It looks prehistoric, doesn't it?
That's incredible.
It's a lovely find.
Significant, though, Chris, or what do we do?
It must be significant, but I mean, are we looking at a stone which is directly associated with the site?
Yeah.
Or is it an older stone which the builders of this happen to incorporate in it?
Yeah. Well, can I give you my
Right, okay.
You see all this stone that we're standing on just here?
Yep.
It just occurs here in a swathe.
Yeah.
And I wondered if it's been ploughed. The farmer's got rid of it because he's been ploughing this field.
He's ploughing into something up here, perhaps?
Yeah, something just over there.
Some stone monument or building.
Like a stone monument or a cairn, a burial mound perhaps. He's just dumped it in the ditch.
I mean, it's a silly question, Stuart, but presumably you've looked through the rest, have you?
Well, this was the first thing I got to, and I got so excited about it that, I mean, really...
This is the location of Stuart Stone, and it's an indication that this could be a really ancient site. But as the end of the day approaches, we've yet further developments as a piece of metal is discovered in our trench here at Ballydoo.
What might be the stone wall or stone revetting, isn't it? I mean, it looks as if this might be a stone wall of a clay bank at the moment.
It's curved. You see that?
Yeah.
And you can even sort of, goes in like that.
Yeah. Can you clean that up a bit more so we can see?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to take anything out, do you?
I want to be very, very careful.
Is that a bit more of it there?
This is clearly a job which will have to be left till tomorrow. All we have time to do now is to take a look at the latest refined geophysics results for Ballydoo, which seem to show evidence of buildings here.
I mean, there seems to be almost a hexagonal shaped feature there.
Yeah.
We need to do some more processing. I've sort of highlighted it on there for those that don't believe what we're pointing out.
This hexagonal shape indicates that what we're unearthing here might be a later settlement. And if that's the case, then I've got to hope that tomorrow we can find an Iron Age palace underneath.
A lot of features. And if we were talking earlier about some sort of ecclesiastical or religious complex, perhaps early Christian, then, that sort of noise would probably fit with monastic enclosure or something like that.
Usually a massive activity around even buildings changing site, things overlapping and ditches, paved areas, graves, anything.
Yeah, I mean it's another high status site in a landscape full of high status sites of different dates. So it rather fills in the story, doesn't it?
And convinces.
Big hills.
I was going to say, you're after being the king's residence. So
But it does show you that the Irish loved finding bumps and doing things on top of them, doesn't it?
Should we go then?
Yeah, that's good.
So, end of day 2 and the finish of what's been a fantastic day. Still a lot to do tomorrow, but everybody seems really up and only too keen to join Tommy McCree for a ceilidh at his house to celebrate progress so far.
I think we're going to be here for a few hours yet. See you after the break. Slanisha. Day 3, and while Cormac prepares his furnace for a final day's bronze working, out at our original site, Creve Row, there've been a few developments to catch up on.
Firstly, the news that both of the ditches are now thought to be of the same date. This ditch is essentially Bronze Age or earlier, like the one parallel to it. But we got confused at one time and thought it was medieval because we were pulling out medieval finds when the dig got down to about here. And the reason is because of all this black stuff. What happened was that the medieval people dug a little pit or whatever and appeared to have chucked their waste stuff in here, which was why we were getting medieval finds out. But when we dug lower, we found the bottom edge of this medieval pit, and then the old ditch continued. So the ditch itself is very, very old, and we were just confused by this little black curve here. So that's that mystery solved. But it now seems we have a new problem, which stems from the fact that we have two sets of geophysics results. One which shows two so-called linear ditches continuing to the bottom of this field, and another which shows one ditch curving off around a possible settlement area. A decision has to be made quickly to work out how many trenches we need to dig here to sort this out. But we have disagreement in the camp.
I take John's point, but I suppose on a broader scale, if I was going to sort of dig this area, I'd say, you know, you put one over the core settlement and maybe put one over the...
Well, when we know that the ditch is clearly on the magnetic
This is
block.
dissent in the geophysics
It is,
team,
it
you know.
is.
We don't very often get this,
what
do
we're trying
we?
to do is
Yeah.
save the archaeologists' work. One trench here on
Yeah.
this putative settlement will solve the question. The geophysics is clear. We've got two ditches running across the field. The only difference is the fill of the ditch at this point is different. We think it's different because you've got settlement at this point.
Yeah.
So why put a trench down there?
Chris, can we borrow you for a minute? Well, if we carry on like this, we won't have time to dig any trenches at all. What does Chris Lynn think?
Yeah,
yeah, I'm happy that it's the same ditches.
Yeah,
And-
I mean,
and
there's no
whatever
doubt
date
it's
they
the
are
same
here,
ditches.
It'll be the
is
same
it?
date up there.
But weren't
Yeah.
we just digging a trench across there to confirm that they were the same ditches?
But it's clear on the geophysics, mate.
Well, are you happy with that?
Yes, I'm happy with that. I mean, again, it's the logistics of the last day.
So at last our third trench at Creve Row gets underway to investigate the area geophysics believe might contain evidence of a settlement. Meanwhile, at our new site, Ballydoo, work has started to excavate the mystery metal object.
What is it? What's going on?
Well,
Some
it's-
sort of metal
yeah.
iron plate.
Oh, I see, yes. Very
Not
good.
sure it is actually, but yes.
What we got to do is we got to clear away all the spoil around
Yes,
it,
I see.
and we want to see whether or not it's actually sitting on top of the stones. If it's sitting on top of the
Yes.
stones, it could be quite recent and just moved its way down. But if
Yes,
it's
I
actually
see.
buried in
Yes.
the stones, that's a lot more significant.
Could indicate then there's something quite ancient.
Yeah.
It's slow, delicate work, which means we'll have to wait a while before we know what this item is. But meanwhile, we have another find in this trench.
Well, you got something interesting?
Yep, very interesting.
Oh, wow. Here. What is it, do you know?
It looks like lignite.
Lignite?
Yep.
What's lignite when it's at home? We don't get that round where I come from.
Well, it's a sort of a halfway house. It's almost a coal type
Yeah?
stone.
Yeah?
It was used quite a bit in the early Christian period.
Yeah?
In Ireland for bracelets and rings and that type of thing. It would appear that this is.
And you gotta, I mean, it occurs naturally round here, does it?
Yes.
Right. Does this stuff need conserving, or does it?
No.
It's perfectly robust on its own
Yes,
right, is it?
yes, it's okay.
That's good.
Back at the Navan Centre, Cormac is making good progress too. He's thinned out the bronze to the right size and can now prepare to add the lateen design. The discovery of our broken lignite bracelet in a good stratified context means that we can now date our settlement at Ballydoo. This is a bracelet which we know would have been worn around 800 to 1200 AD. So this changes everything. It looks like we've got an early Christian site at Ballydoo. But I don't mind giving up the idea of a palace here if what we're finding is equally as exciting. And it is, because apparently it's very rare to find an early Christian settlement outside of Armagh, and even rarer to find one we can excavate because it doesn't have a church or graveyard on top of it. So we must press on here and learn more about it, and hurry with our second trench, which is targeted at investigating the hexagonal feature discovered by geophysics. Meanwhile, at Creve Row, our original site, we may have a Bronze Age settlement after all.
Well, it's a bit unclear. That was quite a nice line coming down like that. And then... oh. That looks a bit post-holy, doesn't it? Yeah. That looks... because, yeah, we've still got the edge of this feature coming back here, yeah, so we've got a line coming along sort of like that. A possible post hole. I wonder if that might be
another one?
Another post hole in that case, where the edge waves a bit there.
So once again, last-minute excitement and a race against the clock on the final day. But back at Ballydoo, our early Christian site, the metal object has been revealed, and it's a horse spur and dates to the medieval period, about 1500 to 1600 AD. It doesn't help with the dating of this site, but it's nonetheless a nice find and makes a change from the usual bits of pot. Meanwhile, our second trench at Ballydoo is progressing nicely, despite the occasional interruption.
A little bracelet down in the other trench.
Has this anything to do with the Navan Fort?
Well, that's what we thought. That's why we came here to dig. And then all of a sudden, it's a later site. It's an early Christian site.
And my friend wants to be an archaeologist and from Kerry. Murphy.
Could you have any ideas for the giver?
Just to make sure you like muck.
Muck and worms. If you can stand the worms, you're okay.
I like worms.
Well, we could certainly do with some help, because there's still lots to do. Phil's in a hurry to help with the recovery of the rock art because he thinks he's got to go and help Carenza with the excavation of the post holes. But the latest news from Creve Row isn't good.
Well, we had this this is supposed to be where this hut circle was. We had no sign of the hut circle at all. We have this long linear feature coming through that. We reckon it's a lazy bed.
That's where they were digging for their taters, isn't it?
Yes. We haven't even found any potatoes. The post holes that you were sent over to help us with, as you can see, they only go down an inch. But
well, you reckon were the stones ripped out
I
or
think
something?
so, yes, yeah, quite. And we've had no finds out of it apart from the odd bit
Well,
of
this is terrible news. No palace at Creve Row either. But on a more positive note, Cormac has just about finished the decorative disc. It's taken 2 days' solid hard work just to make one piece of the Iron Age horn. So considering the time and effort that would have gone into making the complete bronze instrument, it seems hard to believe that people could then have thrown it into a pond as a sacrifice. This disc, once it's polished up, will go on display here at the centre. But as the end of the day approaches, it's time to review the archaeology discovered this weekend, beginning with our original site at Creve Row. So all that massive debate this morning about where we should dig the trenches.
I think we took the wrong option. We had 5 options, and the one we took has taken us really no further forward. We haven't proved there was any settlement. The pottery that came, the domestic pottery we had that came out of that trench has come from sort of one small feature in the trench that's later than the ditch.
And remind me again what was in the one trench that we dug today?
Potato trench, a potato.
It's great, it's
potato
very interesting. My sort of archaeology.
It wasn't my idea.
I shouldn't really have a go at Carenza, because this was one trench we had to dig. It could have been evidence for Connor's Palace. And we do have a real success here at Creve Row in Trench 1. It's given us the dating evidence, which tells us that these ditches are contemporary with the other major monuments in this ritual landscape.
And it's what?
You can see that dark patch just there.
So it was already beginning to silt up.
Yeah, it was silted up at least to here, and possibly because it's this lens shape, it looks as if it may have been cut into the ditch when it's silted up to perhaps that sort of level.
So
and
that
then
could be
cut
quite
into
big
that.
order then, Chris, couldn't
But we
it?
got no pottery at all out of any of the rest of this, which is the same, in fact, as that ditch, where we've had no Bronze Age pottery out of it. So they're looking very similar, except in the history of what happened to them after they were dug.
But I mean, this is great for us because this double ditch feature could have been relatively modern.
Yeah.
Until just yesterday and today.
Yeah.
So
I keep hearing these words double ditch feature. Can we be a bit braver about what that might mean? I mean, are we talking about a road with a ditch on each side, or a fortification, or what?
I think more likely a sort of so-called linear earthwork with, say, we'll say a bank.
It's a landscape feature going across the landscape, probably enclosing an area, maybe separating off Navan from this part of the landscape, maybe going around this boggy area where King's Stables is. It's some sort of a big feature designed to divide up the landscape, or enclose it, or maybe even keep people out of bits of it.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by it, and it's a double ditch feature because it's got two ditches.
Thanks to the geophysics work here, we know that these double ditches stretched across this field and beyond, although more work will be needed to find out where they stop. This is Victor's reconstruction of the double ditches, based on the few other examples of this type of earthwork in Northern Ireland. Originally, it would have had a slight bank in between, but it's likely that at Creve Row this has been ploughed away. At our second site, Hohi's Fort, the work here today has revealed more post holes, which run in a line alongside the metal walkway. But our work here this weekend has been an evaluation exercise, and now that the gateway has been discovered, a longer and fuller excavation will be planned for later in the year. But what can we say about our early Christian site at Ballydu? Well, our first trench here discovered the evidence for the bank and ditch which would have enclosed the settlement. It also produced nice finds like this medieval spur, which once would have looked like this. And of course, our dating evidence, our lignite bracelet, came from this excavation too. But what about the other trench dug here today? Why didn't we dig this middle bit?
Well, because the geophys boys, they saw something else. And so we thought we'd home in on that. And it appeared to be a hexagonal sort of building. And what we did was we just put a trench across it, and we've got part of the wall here. But the interesting feature of this is that there's a lot of occupation soil just on the outside of it. And from this we got a blue glass bead.
That's
the bead.
Isn't that wonderful? It kind of beats things like little bits of pottery, doesn't it? You suddenly get an impression of a real human being wearing something
Well, that's
like that.
locally made. Again.
Is it?
Again, 600 there and about 900 or thereabouts. Ties in well with the lignite.
Drop that at your peril.
So, how would you describe what we've found?
Well, I think you've found what seems to be the edge of a very large and very significant early Christian period running into the medieval period site. I mean, it's 110 metres in diameter, and I mean that is absolutely enormous compared to the usual ring forts of the period, which are sort of 30 to 40 metres. So I mean, it is a site of immense prestige.
So it could be a palace, but it certainly doesn't belong to Connor.
No, certainly not. It doesn't belong to Connor. Although I'm sure that tales about Connor were current and were told in a place like this, whether it was ecclesiastical or secular at this time.
The settlement we found evidence for could of course be secular, but given its position in an area of religious significance, we feel it's more likely to have been a monastic enclosure. This then is Victor's reconstruction based on the archaeology and geophysical evidence, informed by a knowledge of other sites of this date. Of course, there's still masses of work to be done here, as there is all across this huge ritual landscape. I, for one, would love to know what's under the mound in this field. And I'm sure Stuart and Victor would like to know where the rock carving originated from. Victor's tried to make some sense of it by interpreting it as a deer. And Mick's made the point that future work here may still reveal a prehistoric site under the Christian one. So, all right, maybe we haven't found one of Connor's palaces, but you never know. Maybe some 11th century monk, when he was writing his part of the Toyne, saw Navan Mound and saw his fort and saw some ruins here, and that was the inspiration that led him to write the part of the story that said that Connor had 3 palaces. You never know. We've got a bit of a puzzle on our hands this week. Hundreds of Roman finds have turned up in this Suffolk field. Things like this Roman quay end. It's really beautiful, isn't it? But so far, there's no evidence of any building to go with all the finds. The farmer who owns this field would love to know, was there once a fancy Roman door to go with this quay? Time Team have got just 3 days to find out. It's a very square field, isn't it?
Yeah, in relation to some of the other field boundaries, which are rather Kington bent, yeah. There's no reason, of course, why it can't reflect the, the Roman site.
So the boundary of the field might actually be the same as the boundary of whatever Roman thing this is?
That's right, because, a lot of East Anglia has got early field systems. It doesn't have the common fields, it doesn't have late enclosure in a lot of it, so it might well reflect, the actual layout in the middle.
Why have you dug the trench slap bang in the middle of the field?
Well, that relates to the geophysics, their first sort of trawl across the area, which has produced a lot of sort of dark lines on their plot. And we're anxious really to see what those marks mean.
The first geophysics information is in the process of being superimposed onto this aerial photo of the field, which has got some intriguing rectangular crop marks.
Slightly bigger. Yeah, that's a pretty good match.
It is actually quite a good match because they're really quite thick.
Can we sharpen up the detail on the photograph at all because it's faded?
Adrian Thorpe, the farmer, has naturally become very interested in archaeology and is understandably keen to see the first geophysics results.
At the moment, we've simply got plotted data from the geophysics survey, which is showing magnetic anomalies in the soil. But we are actually at the moment putting in a trench across 2 of these lines to find out what is showing under the ground. All the geophysics can tell us is it looks as if there's something interesting here that might be a ditch or something.
Our first trench will allow us to test the geophys results while they provide us with a full survey of the rest of the field.
Bill, it's Mick. Are you getting on in that trench?
Not too bad actually, Mick. We're taking out the ditch section now. Over.
Oh, so that means that the geophysics is actually showing up some ditches then, over?
Well, it's showing up one, but not showing up the other, so that might give him something to think about. Over.
Well, already with bits of 1st and 2nd century Roman pottery showing up, it looks like we're not going to be short of finds this weekend. But what's remarkable about the finds from this field is that they're almost exclusively Roman. It is beautiful, that verdigris, isn't it?
It's fantastic that it's bronze, presumably, isn't it?
We've got the Roman quay, of course, which someone's coming to look at later, and there are literally hundreds of other finds, including an impressive collection of coins. This one's got the head of Hadrian on it and dates to the 2nd century. So if we've got this really elaborate quay and we've got delicate Samian tableware and some really quite elegant brooches, not to mention little hoards of money, is it possible that this quay would have opened the door onto something of quality?
High status buildings, sort of. Well, I don't see why not. I know we've got very little in the way of permanent building materials. There's not much stone, there's very little clay and so on. That's right, you haven't found much of that, have you? if you look at the present buildings round here, they're all timber framed. There's no reason why our Roman ones can't be timber framed as well.
And
let's hope that we find some more things like this over there.
I'd be happier to find more stuff like this, I think, because in terms of a
you
building...
would rather, Mick, let's get this clear. You would rather have more of this than you would more of this.
We know we've got all this. Yes. What we don't know so much about is the building materials. You think I'm being bloody awkward again.
This is really frustrating because I know that viewers love to see these beautiful, elegant things coming out of the ground. And this is what I want Mick always to produce. All Mick ever wants is this cruddy old stuff because it gives you much more historical information.
Yes,
that's very frustrating.
Yes.
Most of the metal objects were found by two dedicated detectorists who'll be helping us this weekend by checking the clumps of dried soil as they come out of the trenches. All the finds from this site will be plotted by our survey team. Hi Vic, what you got?
Well, we've got some rather nice pieces of Roman cooking pot here. It's a nice piece of rim, some decoration on the outside. And we've got several pieces that look as if they'll probably go together.
This is the stuff that came out of the ground this morning?
Yes, it is. Yes, so this is some of the first things we've had brought along to us to sort out and clean.
Wow.
As you can see by the potter's finger marks inside, those match up, so those pieces will go together.
That's not just pattern, that is actually the potter's marks.
That's right, that's where his hand was inside the pot when it was turning on the wheel.
Yeah.
That is the interior. But there's...
Well, with all this pottery turning up, I'm beginning to think it's only a matter of time before we find evidence of a building here. But what kind of building are we looking for?
I think quite probably a basically timber building, perhaps with clay walling as well, and probably a thatched roof, since we don't seem to have enough tile for a tiled roof.
You're thinking farm rather than temple or something. In a trench, we'd be looking for maybe post holes or a slot for a foundation beam to go in.
Yes, that sort of thing certainly turns up quite frequently, and you can get quite a high status building, after all, made out of timber.
If our bet is that this is a Roman farmhouse, is what we mean that there were Italians living there with English slaves and servants, or are they English people who have become Romanised?
It's more likely that a place like this would have been the local British farmers who'd been there for generations, gradually taking on Roman ways of doing things, use of Roman pottery, Roman coins.
Socially upwardly mobile.
Yeah, so to use a term like Romana British really means the British during the period of Roman connection, really.
Which is a bit of a culture shock to them, though, when the Romans did actually arrive, wasn't it?
But I think we all think it changed overnight, but it seems to me that it changes over some considerable time.
And well, we have to look at this starts before the conquest.
Well, it does in the southeast, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we're quite close to Colchester, which was Camulodunum, which was the centre of a major Iron Age tribe that was trading with Rome well before the conquest.
This is where the wine amphora are coming in, isn't
Absolutely,
it? And all the drinking kit and that sort of thing.
Well, also, you have to remember, Tony, when we're talking about we've got material from the 1st century and from the 4th century from this site. Now, you've got it's probably something quite different going on.
That's as long as from here to the Tudor period.
Yes,
which an awful lot has happened. There have been a lot of changes, you know.
So the picture might be of a British farming family who are gradually getting influences from over the water of Roman life, gradually becoming more Romanised. Then the invasion takes place. Probably the grandchildren of that same family still there, thinking of themselves much more as Roman citizens until...
Wanted to take up the new ideas, as it were.
You just imagine the old boy sat under the tree when the first one of the grandchildren turns up with the toga on. What the hell have you got on there? You know, what's this fancy gear?
You're not going out dressed like that.
You're not going out dressed like that. You know.
Back to work. And our first trench has confirmed that one of the geophysics black lines is in fact a double ditch and probably had a bank and hedge on top of it. But we've got a problem. This second ditch, found at the other end of this trench, isn't where the geophys plot indicated. So in these dry conditions, we're picking up some things, but not others.
This ditch is showing up on the geophysics, so we know we can pick up ditches. But a building isn't going to be defined as clearly as that. It's not going to have a huge, great big ditch like that. A building is probably going to be a series of small post holes or a compacted floor or something like that. But that's very difficult for us to pick up. But from this, we do know what is, as John was saying, with the depth of the material, the depth of the natural, the way in which strong features are showing up.
Stuart's busy plotting the alignment of the two ditches found in our trench, and it appears that they belong to two different periods of Roman occupation. Our geophys plot is only picking up the boundaries from one period, and they are clearly on a different alignment to the boundaries surrounding the field today. But what does the full survey show?
Do you think you have an obvious building? Because the building's what we're really looking for,
That's right.
isn't it? We're
No,
looking
that was
for a
the
building
question,
which
wasn't it?
explains why these finds are here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
basically,
the geophysics we've seen so far has shown us
we've got a series of
ditches.
ditch systems, trackways, small enclosures, one or two iffy anomalies, but nothing that sort of stands out
anomaly
to
that
me.
might be a building.
Well, that's it.
Do
It
you
might
have
be worth
something?
investigating.
Show us something that
The black lines, the ditches are very clear
These
to
are the
see,
field
and the
systems,
trackway. There's
Okay.
one
Opposite
interesting
direction,
response that might just be hearth-like.
Mm.
Looks like a burnt feature because of the shape of the anomaly. And then Stuart and Cathy pointed out this sort of area here, where if you squint you can see a possible rectangular shape. That could be a compacted clay floor.
Well, it's 4:20, day one.
Yep.
What are we going to do between now and the end of the day?
We can put those two trenches in straight away.
The archaeology here is literally just beneath the surface.
Oh!
And no sooner has the topsoil been removed on trench number 2 than Phil has spotted something significant.
Hey! Come and have a look at this! Look at that! Yeah, you come and have a look at this. Look, it's all bits of crushed pot. Slabs of it, look, all the way around.
That's right. Look at the amount of charcoal
and here,
too.
Look, and it's bits on top of each other, look, and there's a big piece there.
I think it's right. That looks like a Roman rim there,
there,
doesn't
very
it?
much so, yeah.
I just wondered about some of this.
Does too.
Bang in the middle of the trench at that.
What's interesting, it seems to be an isolated anomaly.
Yeah.
There aren't a series of anomalies like this, it's just one that we've picked out. I mean, we've got a ditch 3 or 4 metres underneath the JCB.
Right.
But apart from that, there's nothing else that's clear-cut in this area.
I mean, does this... I suppose when we've got a clearer idea of what it is, we'll be able to work out, have a better idea of whether it's likely to be associated with a building or not. Because if...
Yeah, I mean, it's
If
just
it is, then
possible
we're
that
gonna
all the
concentrate on this
geophysics is
area.
seeing is this burnt deposit, and that this burnt deposit is actually within a structure, a timber structure that we're not seeing.
Well,
on the other hand, it could be a rubbish pit in the middle of a
carry on
middle
this
of a field.
discussion.
Yeah, let's get
out
on
of
with
the
it.
train.
Yeah, let's get on
So we think we've found a hearth, which must mean we're getting closer to the settlement.
You're a born marksman. Yeah, that black stuff. Spot on.
Trench 2 will now be extended to allow us to excavate both the possible hearth and the ditch showing on the survey here. And we still have enough time today to open up our third trench, here, which, if geophysics are right, could reveal an actual floor surface. The plan for both of these new trenches is to wet them down so that we can cover them overnight and allow the water to soak through and make digging a little easier tomorrow.
I thought you might just be interested to have a look at the Iron Age coins that are the evidence for settlement on this particular site before the Romans got here.
Sure.
This little one, which is lovely, is Tasciavanus, who was a king of the Cacciavalauni, the tribe just to the south of here. And he was probably the son or grandson of the chap that resisted Julius Caesar when he popped across the channel in 55 BC.
Yeah.
Then after that, we've got his son, a chap called Cunobelin or Cunobelinus, who establishes his capital at Colchester, about 20 miles away from here. Those taken with the Iron Age pottery that's come up gives us reasonable certainty that there was Iron Age settlement here, 1st century BC, just before the Romans arrived in 43 AD under Claudius.
So there's a good chance that, as well as Roman material, we might come up with some Iron Age stuff this weekend.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, and demonstrating the continuity right the way through for some 500 years. Super.
One thing we're not expecting to find much of in our trenches is Roman glass, because as a valuable commodity, it was always collected and recycled. Typically, Adrian has found only the one piece of glass on this site, but over the next few days, we're going to attempt perhaps our most ambitious experiment yet. To recycle some glass in a primitive furnace, just as the Romano-British people might have done. Gilbert Burrows, a local farmer, is getting the experiment underway by using his experience of pottery kilns to build our furnace, which will be based on archaeological evidence. I hear you've got a find here.
Got find? Place is absolutely stuffed full of finds. I mean, look at all this. Look.
It's true.
Total bag of pottery. That's just come out of here.
Yeah.
And the whole trench is stuffed full of stuff. And I ain't just talking about finds, I ain't just talking about objects. Can you see there's these dark features here, these dark splodges?
Yeah,
well, they're in. Yeah. See, there's a one that comes across here.
Yeah.
There's one in there just beyond you. There's another one down further. They've all got finds in them. And for just one trench, we got all these features in here. This ain't what you find in a field.
We found it in a field.
not in a Roman field. People don't dig holes in the middle of fields.
So what do you think it is?
I reckon we got to be somewhere pretty handy, the settlement.
Really?
We must be somewhere near it.
So a buoyant mood around the table as the wine's poured, and in keeping with our Roman theme for this dig, a chance to try out some replica Roman pottery.
These were made by Gilbert, who's been working all day on the glass furnace. He's an amateur potter, but I mean he is fairly professional on these Roman, doing these Samian pots. And well, what do you think of them? I mean, I think it's.
It's a good thing he's written his name and date on the bottom. Otherwise,
yes.
He's got 1995 on the bottom.
It's nice to see the glaze fresh. Those ones have been underground so long that it's got dull. But this is it as it would have been when made.
Yeah.
So, are you happy with the way things have gone so far?
Yes, very, very happy indeed. I know from watching your programme, you're always depressed at the end of day one.
Oh, thank you, Adrian.
It was us trying to surprise you.
So, end of day one, and the big news is we're not depressed. We reckon we're at the settlement, or pretty close to the settlement. Tomorrow we're going to start the glass-making experiment, which I think everyone's quite excited about. And I'm the only one without any wine. See you after the break. Yeah. These pictures are Victor's projection of what the quay would have originally looked like. Stop fiddling me.
I've done it now. I've done it.
What is it?
It's a replica Roman lock, and But you know, I'm the sort of person who can't do these sort of things.
And you've done it?
I've done it, yeah. Anyway.
Which of these do you think this quay is more likely to have looked like originally, and what sort of door would it have opened?
It could be either. We have examples of key handles like this in bronze throughout the Roman Empire. Both of these sorts of key would have been used with this sort of handle. This sort of key has a more complex system in that the teeth here would engage into the lock, lift it and then slide it along. This one is more a rotary key, it's more like a modern mortise lock. Unfortunately, I don't think either of those would be used for a front door. They're more likely to have been used for a large chest. Front doors tended to be locked using ordinary levers or latches.
I'm disappointed if it's not a front door key. That's my theory shot down in flames.
I don't think it's so disappointing because there are lots of front doors, but chests, it means that you've got real people who've got real belongings they want to look after.
This is to keep documents in, is it, or valuables? Or that
anything that you wanted to tuck away, you're going to put in household linen, your clothes, anything you wanted to look after.
So we're going to have to rethink our little dream of what was behind the front door.
I'm afraid so.
It's more what was in the big chest.
Yes.
Well, I suppose it makes sense if you think about it. A timber farm building wouldn't need a sophisticated lock. It would just have had something to stop the door blowing open in the wind.
What's it going to turn out to be?
No, it's not.
But Trench 3, which, if you remember, is rich in finds, is still thought to be our best chance of finding a building here.
Good stone crow, look at that. That come out of there?
Yep. There's another piece in the bag as well.
That's the base, probably, of a flagon,
Flagon,
wine flagon.
Right. That is rather nice.
Like most of the pottery coming out of this trench, this Roman wine flagon dates to around the 1st or 2nd century AD. So we've got 3 blokes working with.
That's right.
John, the archaeologist.
That's right.
Ed.
Glassblower.
And
Gilbert.
Gilbert, who's the potter.
That's right.
And he's the man who made the Samian ware last night. Hi,
Hi, Tony.
how's it going?
It's going very well so far. We're obviously going to have a few snags and problems because this is real experimental archaeology.
You haven't made one of these before?
And to my knowledge, this has never really been attempted in such conditions.
Looks like a little tugboat, doesn't it?
It's not going to float though.
So how does it work?
Well, this is where the timber is going to go in the front here, and the heat is going to be concentrated here and drawn through the furnace. Gilbert's left the front of the furnace. This is eventually going to be domed over. He's left the front open so that you can see the pot inside there. That pot is going to be holding the glass. We want to get temperatures of
Around
Gilbert,
1,000 degrees, 1100 Ed really wants to extract glass.
Yes, that's centigrade, and so hot, and we cannot afford to lose that heat.
So what sort of glass or glass components are we going to use?
Yes, let me show you the glass.
All we've got is glass.
Wow.
Now this, in actual fact, is 1,800-year-old glass. This, last time it saw the light of day was during the time of the Emperor Hadrian.
And we're allowed to use this?
We are in this case. Normally so little glass is found on sites that it has to be preserved, but this comes from a 55 kilogram, that's almost 120 pound dump of glass from London, found in a single dump. It is the dump, the bottle bank in effect of a Roman glass worker in about 120 AD.
So bottle banks are nothing new then?
Absolutely not, no, the Romans recycled as much as they could.
There's no evidence that glass was ever made in Roman Britain, only recycled. Apart from archaeological evidence, all we have to go on are images like this one, found on a Roman lamp dating to the 1st century AD.
If you look closely, you might be able to work out a figure on this side.
This guy here, he's blowing glass.
We assume that what he's got here is a blowpipe with a vessel being formed at the end.
Up in the air, Carenza and Mick are on the lookout for more clues as to how our site fitted into the Roman landscape.
There's nothing in that field that's really obvious
I don't
that
think
we've
so,
missed.
no. What about, is that another field boundary in the field next door?
That's the one we're very interested in. Yes, that is showing up in the stubble, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coming straight to the middle of the field we're digging in. In fact, straight to that middle trench that we found all the possible structures in.
That does look as if it could be a road, doesn't it?
It
with
does
with
look,
a sort of line on each side.
Because you can see where the hedge, the dark line where the hedge went, but even either side of that, there's obviously a lot more, and it's heading straight across the diagonal. That's a nice shot, straight across the diagonal.
Very road-like, isn't it?
And it doesn't seem to be going the other side, so it may stop at our site.
I wonder if that's the way in, whether it's a ditch trackway or something coming in. That would be good, wouldn't it? This here looks like the edges of fields.
Yes, well that's good because we're trying to find a field system. If we can get a field system, that'll tell us that our settlement was within a whole patchwork of fields. We've got more around the edge there.
I mean, that's very clear, look.
Isn't that amazing? It's stubble, I can't believe it.
Like a brickwork pattern, look.
Yes, regular small square fields.
I wonder what that actually looks like on the ground, because you wouldn't have thought that would show up in the stubble, would you?
Would you? No.
There's a nice moated farm at the back, look, which is...
We're not supposed to be looking at medieval.
No, I know. but it's difficult not to, isn't it?
That's the Roman road, look, there you are.
Oh, yes, that's
nice?
Brilliant, isn't it?
That's a lovely shot looking right up
here,
it.
yeah. Well, it's so straight, but it's got slight kinks in it all the way along, you know.
Yes, well, I suppose that's just over the years. It's got kicked around.
Yes, they're very spectacular on the landscape, aren't they, really?
Surprised you're not taking photographs of this, Mick.
I shall be, don't worry.
Back on the ground, Peter Murphy, a local environmentalist, has arrived to take some soil samples for us. What we're hoping is that these charcoal deposits will have preserved some evidence of the environment here during the Roman period. Carenza's next task will be to study the crop marks seen from the helicopter.
There, whereas this tiny little narrow dark band is just what the hedgerow was. There's obviously something a lot bigger than the hedgerow itself.
While Mick has been called out to look at the latest find from Trench 2.
What you got then?
Mick, Terry's just found a silver coin.
Cool.
With a detector in the end of this trench.
We have a lot of bronze of this late period, but this is the first silver one, isn't it, Terry, that we have found. You think it's second half of the 4th century, don't you?
That's great. Where did it come from?
Well, it's actually in the top. It's still in the plough soil.
It's still in the plough soil.
Just above the surface of the natural.
Right. I mean, you say this is silver, but it's actually quite green. Bits of it.
Yes, you're
I
right.
mean, it's not copper, is it, with silver on the outside? Do they do things like that?
Possibly a forgery.
A forgery? What, so they're making them in bronze and putting a silver coating on them?
Yeah.
I think it's probably just me being cynical. It just looks a bit green.
I think you're right.
Well, this is a find that will probably need to be looked at by a specialist. But clearly it's well worth our while checking the clumps of soil for small items that could so easily be missed in these conditions. These latest geophys results come from Walnut Tree Field. And if we view the site from the north, it's easier to see that these new ditches are set on the same alignment.
We've got ditches cutting across.
Same sort of ditches, rectilinear
Similar sort of
pattern
thing,
again.
possible trackway coming
Yeah.
through. But the really strong anomaly...
This is Salisbury Cathedral.
Salisbury Cathedral, yeah. I mean...
This, by the way, is the feature Carenza's referring to as Salisbury Cathedral, due to the strength of the signal showing on this plot.
The question is what we do with it.
I mean, there's obviously not time to dig it if it is a kiln or slag working site.
No,
but
no,
you could
we
just
sim-
take
we-
the
we could
topsoil off, plough soil off, and reveal what's there.
I'm getting the impression, Mick, that you don't think that we're going to be able to find this settlement using geophysics simply because it hasn't left any mark on the geophysical record.
Well, it depends what people mean by finding the settlement.
Yeah.
We've already got it. If you're actually talking about a physical building, post holes and so on, then the best bet, I'd have thought, is expansion of the existing trenches.
Of the third trench.
Rather than starting in a totally new area.
Yeah.
We're going to stand far better chance by having a wider area to see small post holes.
The trouble with timber buildings, of course, is that they don't leave much structural evidence behind. And as far as progress within this field is concerned, it's the pottery finds from our Hearth in Trench 2 which are currently generating the most interest.
Ah.
Was it a bit of coronation?
That's rather
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, look.
It is nice, yeah.
Well, I never. Oh.
Ceramic
Goes on right.
decor.
Well, may not come out in one piece, but it's all there in one piece. Oh, good Lord. Gorgeous. Has it got a... Oh, it's still going. Look, it's still going. Come. Look at that. Look at that.
Try not to get too much drool on it, will you?
Ah. Oh, wow, look, it's still going.
Is this Roman or is this pre-Roman?
It will be that pre-Roman style type fabric. It's the Belgic. They tend to term it Belgic pottery. They loved all these curves and shapes and coronations, whereas the Romans were much more sensible people, and they tended to cut all this out and get straight on with the round bowls.
When you say almost pre-Roman...
well, it could have overlapped. This could well be a transition period between the Romans coming and perhaps between, 40, 60 AD, 80 AD. But it's certainly very strongly native.
So is this the period of Boadicea?
Well, yes. To the north of here. I mean, she goes up the spout in the revolt of AD 60. And we're on the boundary here between the Iceni, the Catuvellauni, and the Trinovantes.
This is a 3 different...
tribes.
Celtic tribes.
That's right. And when Boadicea's revolt takes place, she manages to raise the Trinovantes in sympathy to march on Colchester and on London and massacre, according to Tacitus's estimate, 70,000 people, citizens and the like. I mean, it was murder and mayhem coming through here.
So when Boudicca lost, presumably the Romans would have come here and could have smashed up this place.
Yeah, I mean, the cause of the revolt was really that the Romans had maltreated Boudicca and her 2 daughters. Boudicca had been whipped and the 2 daughters had been raped, and they dispossessed all the royal family of their lands and estates, and quite naturally the Iceni revolted, and of course when almost the inevitable happened and the might of Rome really reasserted itself, retook control and presumably ruled this area with an even harder iron hand than had been the case before.
So the farmers who lived around here could well have been the descendants of people who'd fought in Boudicca's revolt.
or who the Romans put in to displace them as being more loyal.
Yeah. Well, this is a bit of a surprise. I'd expected that we would have found evidence of the last Romano-British settlement here. But this pottery could mean we're finding evidence of the earliest phase.
You hope it doesn't all fall in the first 2 hours, eh?
So it is beginning, actually.
It works. It works.
What we've got to do is treat the kiln, and it's not even dry. We've got to treat the kiln as if it were a piece of ceramics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first few hours.
That's right. They're crucial. They're crucial. Otherwise, what we'll do is split the thing apart.
I don't know if anyone's told Phil, but he'll be expected to be there around midnight tonight when our newly cleaned Roman glass goes into the furnace.
Jude?
Yeah?
Look at that.
Oh, it's a butt beaker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Butt beaker in there?
Yeah.
What's a butt beaker?
A butt beaker is a 1st century pot that's sort of that shape that you could fit a lot of beer in.
Sounds like my sort of pot.
Have you got any idea what these red clay things are?
I mean, it's all a bit reminiscent of how you make pots with fired clay bars. There's a lot of charcoal around. Yeah.
What do you mean by fired clay bars?
Well, a bit like the sort of prefabricated blocks to put inside something that where you're firing something. So, like if you're making a pottery kiln, you've got a basic shape, and inside you'd have pre-fired clay bits to stack the pots on.
Do you think that means that this wasn't just an ordinary farm settlement, but might have been a specialised place for making things? Or do you think it's just that any farm would have had lots of little industrial processes going on?
It's very hard to tell, but I do wonder if they've selected the site because it would be good for industry, yes, in that we're in a wooded area, so perhaps they've chosen to put a mainly industrial settlement with a bit of farming as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, important evidence here in Trench 2. But I'm disappointed to report that we still have no sign of a building in Trench 3, despite the fact that all the finds tell us there must have been one close by. Hopefully, by extending this trench, we'll have a better chance of finding it. But I do feel I'm beginning to develop a clear picture of the people who lived here, and it's items like these brooches which really help.
This one is probably the fanciest. You can see that the whole of the surface has been covered in silver or tin, so the general effect would be of a much more expensive brooch than it was in reality.
Usually if you hear about a site that's got lots of jewellery on it, you think immediately of wealth, but you're saying this is much more Christmas cracker.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it may be that what we're talking about here is the sort of thing that travelling metal workers would make and pedal round from farm to farm. The sort of thing that...
Which would fit in with their idea that
yes,
there might have been itinerants around here, or that these might have been farm people who also made some cheap jewellery.
Yes, indeed. Or it may be that people just kept their old bits of brooches and such like, so that when the tinker came round they could exchange a new one for the bits of the old one, which again we know happened.
Are you focused for your eyes?
I am.
We now have some environmental evidence ready to show Adrian.
OK, we've got a few spelt grains at the top here.
Yes, yes.
Some bits of
what is
spelt chaff, mainly, the husks.
Yes, oh yes.
But you were saying, Pete, you thought it might be a fuel.
Well, it was often used as a fuel. Well, it's quite woody. If you look at a modern ear, you'd see it's a lot tougher and more denser than modern cereal chaff.
Yes.
So it's got more thermal capacity, really.
Just the chaff was used as a fuel, not the
and
grain.
the straw as well.
Straw, yes.
It suggests it's not coming from far away anyway, which rather homes in on our sort of settlement and the processing in it. Pete's brought some spelt along, and I bought a jar full. I've bought...
I think your ears are rather better.
Well, they're rather nice, these. These are ones I've grown in my garden. That's what it looked like, and that's what's come out of each of those.
Well, rather small and thin by our way of thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they still grow them in Germany, don't they, for special sorts of bread.
Do they? Oh, yes. So it's got to be Iron Age or Roman from the material you...
Well, I think that is a legitimate question of how we can be sure of the date of this. And I think it's because it's coming from that ditch with that Roman pottery in it, isn't it? And it's well below your plough level.
Oh, indeed, yes. And It can't be my grain that's fallen down a crack.
No,
There's a
because
different
you don't
sort
grow that.
altogether, so-
No.
Well, in any case, this is carbonised.
Yes.
It's been burnt before it got into that deposit. Yes. Well, I think you should bash on with that, Pete. I think that's brilliant. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for showing me
And
that.
you'll get some supper if you get any more out.
So, as the end of day 2 approaches, I can't help but feel that we really are making progress on all fronts. And to end what could turn out to be an almost perfect day, it now seems that our decision to extend Trench 3 already looks like paying off.
I reckon this is a surface.
Yeah. Like you say, it is just lifting off.
This may well be a floor.
Yeah. I think it'd be really, really nice to think that that might be the floor of the building.
Very early, day 3. And despite problems with wobbly chimneys and a small accident with the roof of the furnace, our enthusiastic team are delighted to be able to report that they've managed to reach 1,000 degrees and are now ready to charge the furnace with the first shovel of Roman glass.
We're going to be doing this, half a dozen times at least tonight, because it's going to take a few shovelfuls to fill the furnace, right? You ready, Phil?
Okay.
That looks good. Door back on. And it didn't even pop.
Look at that.
It didn't even pop.
And you only lost 10 degrees.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so far.
Oh, wow, look at that fire now.
Yeah, listen to it.
That's 1,050.
Yeah?
Ooh, we'll get our 1,100.
Yes, we will.
First time this glass has been warm in 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Well, the sun is reasonably high in the sky before day 3 begins for the rest of us. And as Adrian takes a ride out to take a look at the floor surface in our recently widened trench, Phil and I are eager to see if our glass furnace survived the night. How's it been going?
Brilliantly.
Never doubted it for a minute.
You look done to a turn, Gilbert.
Thank you. Lots of little disasters, well, lots of little setbacks, but plenty of climbacks. It's brilliant. It's
So how
really...
far have you got?
Well, we've been as high as 1260.
1260?
Yeah. But that's probably flame temperature. I don't think the pot's got much above 1050. But we got good glass in there with a lot of bubbles in it.
It looked pretty good to me last night when I left.
I'm just getting ready to stir it.
If this chimney was working efficiently, then the bellows wouldn't be needed. 2 chimneys, it's now been decided, would have made it easier to control the temperature. But this furnace has done its job, and soon we'll have the rare opportunity of trying some glass blowing with genuine Roman glass. But we still have a lot to do today if we're going to develop a clearer understanding of this site.
Well, that's a pretty good view from there, isn't it?
In Trench 3, it's a race against time to try and find evidence for a timber building.
I mean, what is interesting about what we can see now is this is very typical of a lot of sort of British archaeological sites, isn't it? It's patches, different coloured areas of soil. I'm sure a lot of people think, we dig and we find walls and floors and mosaics and all the rest of it. Sort of thing they say on holiday in the Mediterranean.
We should be so lucky.
Well, that's right. Whereas it's invariably these different coloured soils which represent timber buildings and buildings built of very perishable materials. They just leave these stains. And we just have to sort of carefully clean them, record them, dissect them to get the story out.
Even though we don't have much information yet about the building we think we've discovered here, we do have plenty of finds which can provide an insight into everyday life at the time. And with Adrian's wife Jane as a volunteer, we can also get a picture of how a Romano-British woman might have looked around 200 AD.
You had to remodel your hairstyle as well, and this seemed to be a combination of Roman and slightly Celtic, is that right?
Oh yes, Iron Age women tend to wear their hair down or in plaits. But when the Roman women came to Britain, they wore their hair up. They seem to have brought the hairpin to Britain. Celtic women seem to have adopted the style where they take the back hair up into a bun, but they did seem to like to hang on to these plaits, or in this case ringlets, coming down on either side of the face.
And then they used to copy what later came on off from empresses and coins. And
yes, that's right, yes, because the garments themselves don't seem to have changed with the years. They didn't have hemlines rising and falling. The thing that changed most often was the hairstyle. And as you say, the way to keep up to date was to look at the latest coins of the empresses and see how they did their hair and immediately change it. Empresses actually were very nervous about being seen to be old-fashioned, and you very often find in Rome itself marble statues with detachable hair pieces, so that if the fashion changed, they'd just take the hair off and redo it and put it back on again, so they never appeared to be out of fashion.
That's lovely. Now, I don't think I'm going to change mine.
You're not going to change, you're quite happy.
Out at the furnace, the learning experience continues. And after several unsuccessful attempts to produce a new object with our Roman glass, we're now reaching the better quality, purer glass at the bottom of the pot.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it just looks so magical. Oh, that looks wonderful. So it's that you blow the glass a little bit and then swing it to get it to...
Yeah. Well, you can make it elongate. Basically, we're working with gravity.
So what sort of shape are you trying to make it, Ed? It's changed
Basically, a
from that...
small conical vessel, like a cone beaker. It's going to be smaller than most of the archaeological ones that we've found.
That is looking nice.
Looks nice.
The hotter it is, the runnier it is, right? Nice and hot.
Oh, really? Are we somewhere near there, Ed?
Yeah, we're very near.
I reckon I sort of sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to try too hard for conical here. We've got a nice thickish bottom, which probably means we'll have a crack. I'm going to go in for the punty, so if you can just stay out for a minute and then warm up while I'm getting the punty.
I think I'm going to have to stay off the. I'm going to have to stay off the doings.
Yeah, well, try and do it as best as you can. Okay. Anytime you can come round. All and sundry, watch out, because he's a danger with that thing in his hands. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I think we've got it.
One of these fine days, we're actually going to do this, Ed.
Okay.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Now, you take that one.
Got it.
Magic. Get rid of it. Watch out for your hands.
All right. So you'd be like a sort of almost like a stemmed wine glass. You could leave it on, could you?
Well, no, because it's a very poor junction. That's the whole point. When we crack it off, it should come off and just leave the scar that you find on handmade glass.
What are you looking for now, Ed? I mean,
I just want to warm it up enough to open it out. I want to go more conical with it because it's just a pretty nondescript little bag of a vessel at the moment.
Wouldn't that do?
Well,
Your
I
artistic...
don't know. I mean, yeah, well, I mean, I'm just ambitious,
Oh,
that's all.
beautiful.
You see.
It's coming along nicely.
Look at that. Oh, that's lovely.
Let's get to the sawdust.
And the rim is not going to be finished any further?
No. Well, I mean, there's no way I can actually straighten it.
And then just cover it straight up?
Yeah, now.
Oh,
you see, that's the way. That's why that joint is made that way.
It's crucial now that the glass is given time to cool down, so it's probably going to be the end of the day before we can have another look at our conical beaker. Time now to catch up on Trench 4, which is proving difficult to interpret, but we've got various clues to go on. Evidence of burnt wood, large Roman nails, and bits of 1st century pottery.
I mean, it's obviously a big hole, isn't it? It's very square. It's been lined with wood by the looks of it. Which has been burned, and that's one episode of use, and then it's just been filled up with rubbish, really. But we really don't know what it was used for. It's frustrating, isn't it? I mean, it's a huge, very nice, regular feature with a wonderful amount of burning, yet it's still enigmatic for us.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Whatever the function of the pit, this is more evidence of industrial activity here. In the big trench, as many people as possible are working on revealing evidence of the building here. Back at the barn, Carenza can now show Adrian the results of her work analysing this earthwork, which is evidence of a trackway leading into our site.
I think you can see how you could move along it as a level terrace that's probably been worn by people walking along it.
By studying the aerial photos, Carenza thinks she's found evidence of how the trackway links up with one of the main Roman roads in the area.
It clearly looks like a road because of the way it runs for such a long distance in the same line. It's a major axis, and the ditches either side show that it's not just one boundary, it's two boundaries either side of a route.
While Carenza's been working with the aerial photos, Stuart's been out looking for surviving evidence of the Roman field system in the landscape.
This is that main spine boundary I keep referring to, which is this one here on the map, which I think is one of these big parallel boundaries in the landscape. You see how it comes along and suddenly changes direction by the telegraph pole. You can see the whole thing changing direction there. Well, if you continued the alignment that's to the right of the telegraph pole, it would go through that field there and into the field where the excavations are taking place. And it lines up exactly with one of the big ditches that came out on the geophysical plot.
It's by recognising field patterns in the landscape that Stuart's identified more Roman field boundaries still in use today. This second set shows how the layout of the fields changed around the 2nd or 3rd centuries AD and created our square-shaped field. But now it's time to pull together the various lines of investigation. First, the forged coin found yesterday.
I also think it might be a plated silver coin,
Yeah.
which is just exactly what they did. I mean, in other words, it is an attempt to deceive.
And what were the dates of
well,
that particular coin?
That coin is 378 to 383.
Gosh,
it's
precise.
late.
Late,
precise, isn't it?
It is precise.
Well, once you've got the emperor,
Well,
of course, it's
yes.
gonna be, isn't it?
Well, and on the reverse, it's got sort of birthday wishes, which help to date it.
That's nice. I like that.
Congratulations for 5 years, and all happy returns for the next 5 kind of thing.
Daphne's spent some time looking through Adrian's coin collection. Do they tell us anything about the site?
But I would have said for a site that was starting to be come into its own sometime in the mid-2nd century or late 2nd century, and then straight on through to the very end. Yes, I would say it was typical, but not of a rural, simply farming side. I mean, it obviously had more to it than that. They must have had access to a market, because they were getting fresh coin. I mean, this one of Constans, this particular reform was short-lived.
Right.
And this coin is in lovely condition. It obviously got there soon.
It's close to the date of minting.
That would have been close to the date of minting, 348 to 350.
And then if the coin is replaced, that ceases to have any monetary value.
I think the fascination of all this is that it spans the entire Roman period of occupation. And it conjures up this marvellous picture of this site that comes into existence, lasts for 400 years, and then dies. Because when the Saxons take over in this area, we know that they probably had no knowledge of the location of this site. They used the site as fields, cultivated them, and the knowledge of all this was lost until it started to come alive again, well, in Adrian's hands and in those of his friends.
I don't think we've ever had as many finds to deal with on a Time Team programme. Our survey team have had their hands full just trying to produce this record of the 558 metal finds discovered here to date.
And this is really rather splendid. It's been decorated with stamp decoration. And Jude and I have been talking about this, and we think it may be the sort that you tend to get from Gaul. So we may be talking about cross-channel communication here.
Are those little owls
Yes,
on
they
the...
do look a bit like little owls, don't they?
They seem to even to have the plumage
Yes, that's right.
carved into them. This dates to the early 2nd century, and it's a lovely addition to Adrian's brooch collection. But we also had this. It's one of 8 studs that would have been on a chest, possibly the same one as our key opened. But I think my favourite has got to be this, just because I watched it coming out of the ground. Here it is in all its glory, reconstructed by the graphics team. It's a butt beaker made by the British people here before the market became flooded with mass-produced Roman pottery. There's no getting away from the fact that this is a complicated site, but perhaps no more than we could have expected with 4 centuries of occupation here during the Roman period. But nevertheless, we can still produce several pictures for Adrian of the different phases of activity discovered here this weekend. Firstly, the early settlement, which the complete geophysics survey has shown to focus here. These geophysical lines and features are the ditches, trackways, hearths and fields of a Romano-British farm and industrial site, which could have looked like this around the middle of the 1st century AD. But it's in the second phase of activity here that we've actually found surviving evidence of a building. As you can see, we've got a complicated series of layers in Trench 3, but we believe that this ditch, this floor, and these post holes belong to a timber building which could have looked like this. This farm building dates to the late 2nd century AD and reflects the change from traditional Iron Age roundhouses to a more rectangular Roman-style building.
We're going to risk it.
So, a productive 3 days, and all that remains to be done now is to take a look at our recycled Roman glass beaker.
Sort of excavating for you, isn't it, Phil?
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
It was much bluer, greenier when it went in, Ed.
It's
Will it
very
clean
small.
up?
Oh yeah,
Will it
yeah,
clean
that'll
up?
come off with a bit
But
of
that
soap
is
and water.
steaming, isn't it?
So was it worth having to miss all that sleep for?
Yeah, I'd do it again, but not tonight.
If you found a piece of this in England, you'd celebrate. It's called Beaker pottery, and it's about 4,000 years old. And the people who made it, the Beaker Folk, are a huge mystery. But here, an American archaeologist reckons he's found a whole Beaker settlement. He doesn't know how long the Beaker Folk lived here or how big the settlement was. But if we can help to prove that it was part of a sophisticated, organised community, then this area could turn out to be one of the most significant archaeological sites in the whole of Europe. Our archaeologist has worked here for 30 years. We've got just 3 days. We've come to Dea, high in the mountains on the northwest coast of Mallorca, in search of Copper Age buildings where the Beaker Folk lived.
The area is located.
Third site.
Site co-director Pep Ensenyat is showing Carenza an area called the Maze, our first site. It's hard to believe this rubble-strewn scrubland hides any clues to the mysterious Beaker Folk, but Pep thinks he's found evidence of a building under this pile of stones or clapare.
Here we have an alignment that would be one wall of a building.
Oh, I see. Just this line of stones
You have
sticking
1,
up through
2,
the grass
3,
here.
4,
Yes.
5, 6, and go right into the clapper. And on the opposite side, we have another alignment that goes right inside, again, the clapper.
Right, well, theoretically it sounds wonderfully easy, doesn't it? We just take the stones off, take the scrub off, and there's our building.
But there's at least 4 tons of rubble to shift here, and our diggers are all local archaeology students who don't speak any English and seem to be going about the task rather delicately. You'll need to speed up a bit because, as Mick and I discovered from site director Bill Waldron, we've got lots to do this weekend. What have you got here?
Well, we've got an excellent aerial photograph showing the 3 sites that we're interested in. This is the Sonalesa Copper Age settlement, which is this site here. Right, that's where we are now. On this place here, we have a ritual area, which is the San Mas sanctuary site.
Yeah.
And then we have this mystery site in the middle here, which is we call the Maze site.
Right.
And that's where I think most of our efforts should be concentrated.
We will be looking at the other 2 sites, the Beaker settlement at Sonalesa and the sanctuary at San Mas, in due course. But Carenza's site, the Maze, is the key. Because if what's under the clapare there is a Beaker building, then Bill will know the whole area was once home to a rare Beaker community.
We do know there is a connection between this site, and that's the Beaker bit. Now, it would be marvellous if we find the Beaker bit here too.
Right.
So, essentially, we want to see whether there is a link between all these 3 sites.
Right, exactly.
How the heck do we do that over a weekend?
Well, you've got the expertise. You've got the things that I don't have.
Some of that expertise has just arrived at the Maze. The geophysics team are going to test the area around the clapper to see how far the building extends. Though there's hardly any topsoil, and they might have trouble telling buildings from bedrock. And nearby, Bernard and Stuart are setting up the Global Positioning System, or GPS, which uses satellites to give exact grid references for geographical features and finds. Or it will, if Bernard can master the kit. By the end of the weekend, all the geophysics and GPS data will have been plotted onto an incredibly detailed three-dimensional map, showing the precise location of trenches, geophysics results and finds. And then there's my favourite piece of technology. One of the aspects of Time Team that the archaeologists find most useful is when we get those big aerial shots so they can see how their site fits into the geography of the area. But as you can see, the only helicopter that we've been able to find in Mallorca is that little thing, and there's not room for two people plus the pilot. So I can't go up in it, and I'm pretty hacked off about that. And Carenza can't go up in it, and her absence speaks volumes. And the only person who's allowed up, says our chief archaeologist Mick, is our chief archaeologist Mick. And he's going to tell us what he can see. I'll stay here, and Carenza's over there somewhere. Are you ready to go, Mick?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good luck, have a good flight. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clearly.
It's working. Mick heads straight for the maze. You can just see the clapper in the corner down here. But it's just one feature in what could be a huge site, and we won't have time to investigate it all. So Mick's looking to see if there are any natural boundaries which might limit our search. But first, he's got to find Carenza.
Carenza, are you there? Down below in the maze. I can't see you at the moment.
Can you see me? I'm right below you here.
Yeah, I can see you now. It's okay. You're behind the tree. Over there, look, Alistair, behind that tree there. Okay, I've got you now. Waving to you. Tell me where
It's great, this late 20th century communications, isn't it?
Establish an edge to the site here. There's a whole line of sort of rock outcrop that I'm standing on. Just curving around along here.
Yeah, just keep going in that direction. Yeah, bear a bit to your right. A bit further over. Heading towards that building. Now, you're not coming up to sort of stones in a row there. You just come behind the trees. Hang on.
Mick agrees that the rock outcrop looks like a natural boundary, with the site on this side of it. And he soon spots something else. Though what he can't see is Carenza's got a hell of a job keeping up with his instructions.
I feel like Annika Rice.
Now, can you see a row of stones in front of you now? This is really good from the ground as well. This looks like a sort of flat. We thought it was like an entranceway almost to the terrace where the clappers are.
We've sort of got this, all this rocky area, very bare rock outcrop that you couldn't build on, and the more level area where you could build on above it, and then sort of this flat, almost like terrace winding around, seems like maybe an entranceway coming up to it.
So that's just what it looks like from here.
Mick, when you finish drooling over it all, can you get down?
All right, okay. I'll send you a bit of photography first. I'll see you shortly. Over and out.
He wants to take some photos, so he says over and out. Come down now! He's turned it off. While Mick's mucking around in the helicopter, Carenza's returned to the clapper to find problems mounting. The first set of geophysics results were ruined by the bedrock sticking through the topsoil, so they're having to try again. And 3 hours of stone shifting has made virtually no impression on the clapper.
Pep, your archaeologists have been at this for a while now, trying to get the stones off this clapper. We're not really making very much progress on it. Is there any way we can speed things up a bit?
Well, the clapper is actually a bit large. What we could do is to just take 1/4 or a section of the clapper off, right next to the structures or the alignments of stones, and see if the structures go well inside.
If we ever get down to it, the building underneath the rubble may turn out to be something like our second site, the Beaker settlement at Sonalesa. Here, in a compound the size of a football pitch, Bill's found houses, artefacts, and more Beaker pottery than we have in the whole of the UK.
So would this have been a wall?
Yes, yeah, you can see that there's the two facing sides are very large stones, which are about 3.5 meters wide.
So it would have been tall?
Oh yes, that thing would have gone up at least 3.5 meters, which is roughly about 8 to 10 feet.
This is quite a sophisticated people.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of manpower has been put into this.
What's this little thing?
This is a little alcove. It's a we call it the guard's niche.
For the soldier to
word.
do that?
Not a soldier, no. We know that there was probably a guard dog because we have gnawed bones that we've excavated from in between the crevices of the rocks, and that's one of the indications that they probably had a dog there. There's a whole water system, hydraulic water system that moved in here that literally brought water right into the houses, back of the houses.
It's hard to believe, isn't it, that people who apparently just came out of the Stone Age would have these great big high walls and water systems.
Well, not if it took
pathways.
1,100 years, 1,200 years to do it. Look what we've done in the last 1,100, 1,200 years.
Yeah. But Bill's not finished with this site. He wants to find out when the Beakers first came here. We know they lived during the Copper Age, between about 2500 and 1300 BC. But Bill thinks this settlement dates from the very end of that period. So he wants us to dig under a wall here to find out if there are any remains of earlier Beaker huts underneath.
These could very well be a feature here. If it is, that's...
These lines?
Yeah,
lines
these stone lines, you see this? It could be a feature in here. And then, of course, you could go right on out through there.
Yeah,
on
here.
There, right.
Yeah. And so right out to the wall, these two boulders are on here.
So if we took a 1 meter trench
right through the
all
middle,
the way through, it would be really something
that'd really fit
practical.
in with your plans then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fine. It's show me what's there ahead of time.
Can we get diggers there? See if we can get some diggers on the go. Hello, Phil, the Carenza, over?
Hello, Phil. Yeah, over.
Look, Carenza, we're about to start digging here. Could you send some diggers over for us, please?
Phil, we've not really got anyone to spare over here. I mean, we're trying to move several tons of rocks here, and it's taken quite a while as it is. Can you not manage with the number you've got over there? Over.
Well, I mean... Come on, fair's fair. I mean, you can't have a monopoly on all the diggers, surely.
How many have you got there at the moment?
Well, not very many.
1.5.
All professionals.
I'll have a think about this.
How long's a think take?
They need a couple over the other
we
side.
We could send 2.
You can spare 2?
Yes.
All right. Phil, we can send you over 2. Is that any help? Over?
Yeah, that'll do fine. That'll do fine. You can send them on over.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
Could they go over to the other side then?
Okay.
In fact, it wasn't until after lunch that the reinforcements arrived at Sonalesa.
Ah, diggers, for Christ's sake, about time.
Go on this way. Come on!
Though I think Bill was expecting more muscle and less glamour.
Is this it?
This is it. Let's get on with it.
All right.
Bill's decided to divide the trench into a series of 1 metre units. We're not allowed to call them holes. Phil's unit progresses noticeably faster than any of the others. But with most of the finds likely to be deep in the crevices in the bedrock, it'll take a while before he gets anything out. Back in the incident room, Steve and Bernard are hard at work on the 3D map. What will it do?
The idea of having the landscape we're working in modelled in the computer is that we can plot the work that we do during the weekend onto it, and we can view it from any angle, we can animate it, and we can change the lighting and so on, so it's much easier for us to deal with it.
Is it really going to be useful to you, Bernard, or is it just a sort of rather trendy piece of presentation?
No, I think it is useful. It's certainly, there are aspects of this site that are to do with alignment of one site on the other, and this will enable us to study that and view it quite accurately.
And how long is it going to take you to create the whole thing?
Well, for now we've got the landmass. All we're doing is waiting for the GPS and geophysics results, and hopefully they're going to plot in within an hour or two of coming in, and we'll be out sitting on the landmass and let's fly around them then.
So you can convince me at the end of the weekend when it's
Right.
all up and running and it
Okay.
doesn't just look like something
A
on the
soggy
pavement.
handkerchief. Okay, we'll try our best.
See you later.
Okay.
4 o'clock at the maze and they're still not digging. The latest estimate is tomorrow morning for the start of the excavation.
Well, we've done...
And there'll be no guidance from geophysics on where to dig. The bedrock has beaten them.
It's probably better without glasses.
It is better, actually. Once I defocus, this is a cracking sight.
Yeah.
It's all there.
In fact,
It's
I can
all
see
there.
everything, yeah. What more can you say? Yeah?
It's going a bit better at Sonalesa. Bill's found a few more diggers, and Phil's just found our first fragment of Beaker pottery. We should be grateful for small mercies. In this case, very small.
That's
nice.
Very
delicate.
That is something about like that. Very, very delicate. Very thin-walled. The only thing's missing here is the incisions on it.
So, I mean, is that like virtually a plain beaker?
It's plain beaker is what I would call it, yeah.
When archaeologists talk of Beaker pottery, they mean something like this. It was pottery for special occasions and is recognisable by its distinctive bell shape and carved pattern. Phil's pot would have looked like this, but without the pattern, hence plain beaker. But the Beaker folk also made pottery for everyday use, so-called domestic ware. And there's plenty of that coming out of all the other units.
That's a big old shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big one. It's a big domestic pot.
And
Something like that would be an indication that there's some kind of a hut base around somewhere in this area. Whether it's in these squares or not, or out there, it could be over here. Oh, yeah, more. That's a good quality stuff too.
Isn't it?
And it's sharp.
Yeah.
It's a sharp egg. It's a beauty. It's copper age. Oof. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we'll maybe tomorrow we'll find more of that there.
Right.
Yeah, with a rim shard that might even connect to it. If we're lucky.
Yeah.
But so far, no sign of the hut bases themselves. That'll be for tomorrow. End of day one. This is the first time I've been to this part of the site, and all the diggers have gone home. And I'd assumed that this entire clapper would have disappeared by now, but the only bit that's gone is this little bit here. What's gone wrong?
You try moving it, Tony. There's a lot of it. We actually changed our strategy. We decided that as the structure, or what's our possible structure, runs under this end of the clapper, it made sense just to remove this end of it. And that will enable us to get down to the structure, see if we can get any dating material off. It seems silly to move the whole lot of it, which is a huge amount of work, when the information we need is where this structure runs in at this end.
And we've been having a discussion about a different strategy for the rest of the site to try and define what activity there might be here on this big ridge.
You're twitching. What's going on?
Having been up in the helicopter and seen the position of this on this promontory, a good place to live really, and Bill's found pottery from here. We've been talking about how best to try and define the extent of the site.
That's our problem really. We know there's a structure here and there are a few others possibly. What we don't know is how far it goes. Nothing's been mapped yet. We don't know how big this site might be.
So I've suggested something that'll upset you tremendously, that we ought to dig some test pits across the areas over the back here.
Little arbitrary holes in the vague hope that we might hit
1 metre square hole.
I'm a bit worried about this because I think it's very likely we'll miss it. I think we should do more in the way of sort of field walking to see if there's a difference in the distribution of pottery, whether it falls off beyond that.
But we're not going to. In this sort of stuff, you've got so much sort of stuff on the surface.
Yeah, but
you're going to have a real expert to even see the stuff in there.
Whatever the outcome of this exchange, it means extra work at the maze tomorrow. And we've still not started digging under the clapper yet. Are we being too ambitious? Join us after the break.
Right, Margarita. There. One here, there. Okay.
The change of plan at the maze means Carenza's about to run out of diggers. She and Mick couldn't agree whether field walking or test pits would be the best way to get an overview of the site, and have decided to do both. So they're going to sink a line of test pits running up the site from the clapper. And while Carenza's busy organising that, the rest of her team are clearing undergrowth and looking for surface finds. But resources are stretched.
There are no more people?
In fact, there are only 2 left to start the Clapare Trench. It's not enough, so Mick's gone to Sonalesa to persuade Phil and Bill to give up the hunt for the hut bases and send their diggers to the maze.
We've got to keep going with it. And you said to me yesterday, you said we've got a load of pottery, which is the Unearthed pottery, and you said to me quite clearly that given another day, we'd have so much pottery from here that, you know, we'd have just an amazing collection.
Well, we would.
We've got to leave people here. We can keep going.
We would have another day. That I want. I want you to leave somebody here.
If we can leave you at the end of these 3 days with the potential of a new site, because we've done all this previous work that we've put into it, that's actually more useful than us digging for you and with you, isn't it? Because you can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. That's not a question of that. It's a question of establishing that.
Yeah.
That.
But it seems like at the moment you won't let go of this site.
We're not suggesting that, Tony. What we're suggesting is not putting a great deal of work into this, because Bill can do it later.
I want to see you guys establish the 3 things that you set out to do.
Okay, let's do that.
Which was to basically to establish what's going on at this site right here, at these levels, in this particular area of the site. We know what's going on in the other parts of the area, but we want to know what's in this area.
But in order to do that, where are we going to deploy our resources?
Well, you can leave a skeleton crew here. There's no problem. We're agreed with that. I'm not against that, leaving a skeleton crew here to continue here. I don't see dropping it. I don't want to see it dropped and pull everybody off.
What we're really asking is, can we use the maximum we can gather to put into the maze site to try and sort this out for Bill when we've finished? Are you happy with that?
Yes, I'm perfectly happy. That's all right.
Well, let's get
let's do it then.
With that, the search for the hut bases is abandoned. Just 2 of these diggers will remain here to tidy up the trench. The rest are off to the maze. Mick, I don't think you're a happy man. What's your problem?
Well, there's lots of things, isn't there? There's the terrain, there's the distance.
The time it takes to get from one place to another.
Well, yes, and the time to dig, and I don't know. I mean, there's different approach to things.
In what way?
Well, I suppose it's summed up really at the maze site, where the Bill's got some walls going under a clapare, so that's the target. Whereas my approach is much more to look at the whole area and then home in on it as a result of doing various fieldwork in evaluation techniques.
Rather than excavating simply to support one theory.
Yeah, I mean, but one has to say, of course, that, it's worked for Bill in the past. He's been here a long time.
Are we going to get what we want?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think well, in the sense that Bill was anxious for us to get involved because we've got so many techniques at our disposal, which is why, I argued very strongly that we should do the maze settlement, because that is the one area we can try that out. Otherwise, we're just continuing what he can do in his own time.
Sure.
He's digging more little holes. God's truth.
Oh, that's going to take the gearbox out in a minute.
Yeah. It's all these running outcrops as well.
Mick, I've come to a dead end. With the test pits and field walking well underway at the maze, the new diggers are put to work on the Clapare Trench. They're excavating the whole cleared area at the end, and the alignment of stones is looking promisingly wall-like, but the finds are almost all Roman, not a good sign for this being a Beaker building. Meanwhile, Phil's tempering his disappointment at stopping the Sonalesa dig with a gentle boat trip. He and Pep are looking for a crucial ingredient of Copper Age life.
I think the copper was a very important part of the settlement, having a copper source nearby.
It must have been an amazing discovery to find they had actual ore there and then they could actually use it.
Absolutely.
They're heading for a cove here, right underneath our 3 sites, to look for the copper seam Pep believes the local Beakers would have mined.
So we're going to be able to land right on the beach?
We're going to land right in front of where the sources are. The only problem is that you may get a little wet.
I thought there'd be a catch in it somewhere.
Yeah. I think you better start taking your boots
better
off.
at it.
They're not just here for the view. Phil's going to try and smelt copper from the ore, so he and Pep have got some mining to do.
Oh, yeah. Now, where is this copper then? Oh, what? Look at that. Go on, keep going. Let's have some of that. It really is green. I mean, I don't know what colour I expected it to be, but it really is copper. I'm beginning to think they probably did walk down the cliff and didn't come in by boat, because it's far too uncomfortable for your feet.
Look out, here comes trouble.
Hello, Bill. I haven't seen you up here yet.
It's nearly lunchtime, and Bill's come to see what the diggers he lost this morning have been up to.
Well, this is a trench we're putting on the alignment over by the Clap Hare. That's going on well, but we're still quite high above it. It's only classical stuff at the moment. But we sort of expanded out a bit. We've done some field walking, sort of surface collection here, looking for prehistoric pottery. You can see the sort of red pegs where bits have turned up. Bernard's just measuring them with the GPS, and they go straight onto the computer.
So that'll all go onto the plan.
We'll get a distribution map of the whole site with all the prehistoric pottery. What we're also doing is putting in some test pits in a sort of line. Come down here, because we've got a whole line of them across the site. One up there, we've got about 10 in a line right down to that big line of boulders there, which we're thinking might mark a natural limit to the area you'd occupy up here.
The test pits will take a while to produce results. In the meantime, Carenza's anxious for a verdict on the field walking finds.
Boy, that's familiar to us, isn't it?
What do you think of that from a date point of view?
To me, that's Copper Age, and the age would be somewhere at 1300 and 2500.
Right, so that's exactly the period we're interested in.
And incidentally, this stuff always accompanies beakerware.
Really?
Yes,
really?
This type of pottery, this particular form, this truncanconic form, always is found with beakerware.
So the Beakers were definitely here at the maze. We've just got to find what it was they lived in. Single building or whole settlement? And is this wall anything to do with them, or was it built later? But what I don't understand is why in a tiny little backwater like this was an ancient people building such big walls and big settlement and a big sanctuary?
What makes you think that this is a place that's been off of the beaten track?
It was a little island.
Islands, that doesn't mean a thing. Islands are, if they're the right kind of islands, they're very closely related to the mainland.
So this would have been
especially these islands. Especially these islands. These islands form actually a set of stepping stones between here and the mainland. If you looked at a map, you'll see that there's Menorca, Mallorca, Ibiza, and then the Spanish mainland, and you never get out of sight of land. And this beaker pottery we find here is exactly like the beaker pottery that you find anywhere in the mainland, like anything that you find in the south of France, and what you find in England. In fact, these things that you've been looking at here, part of them, the oldest part of it, is contemporary with Stonehenge at Avebury in England.
All right, so at the same time as this was going on here, similar people with similar customs were making Stonehenge and the Avebury
Exactly contemporary.
In fact, Mick is even now getting his first glimpse of the local equivalent of Avebury. Our third site, the sanctuary at Son Mas. It lies 1 kilometre down the coast from the Sonalesa settlement, with the maze in between the two. The building you can see is Iron Age, but Bill's also found beaker pottery here, which suggests that there was an earlier Copper Age sanctuary. If we can find it or prove it existed, we'll know it was part of the same beaker community as the Sonalesa settlement. First on the case, are geophysics.
Where have we got to go? The far side.
Oh,
it's almost a lawn.
It's got soil on it. That's actually quite moist, right?
We're not hitting bedrock though,
No, I think we might actually get away with
we've taken some resistance measurements on here.
If there was a Beaker sanctuary on this site, it must have been built here for a reason. So while John and Chris get to work with the geophysics, astroarchaeologist Michael Hoskin is trying to work out if this site aligns with important stars the Beakers might have worshipped. Not surprisingly, this has attracted the sceptical interest of Mick and Phil.
This very unusual stone here appears to be hollowed out and looking right up the valley. So, taking this as a clue, I look at the gap in the hill. And then I have a catalogue of star positions in prehistoric times, and that will enable me to establish what interesting objects there were in the sky at the time. And
this is because it alters.
Yes.
Year by year.
It alters because the Earth is not a perfect sphere, it's flattened at the poles.
Right.
And so the gravitational pull of the Moon and the Sun causes the axis of the Earth to wobble.
Right.
And from here, we have to imagine the Earth tilting away.
Yeah.
And what it appears is that the sky, the stars, are going down.
Right. So you're going to take all your calculations and see which stars and whatever were visible through that, in line with that mountain. You'll be able to tell us that tomorrow.
I will indeed.
We better leave you to it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just hope it's Hale Bop or Alpha Centauri or something like that.
I'll do my best.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Bye-bye.
A few hundred yards away, Stuart's looking for spiritual guidance too. He's found a path running along the cliff edge from the Maze settlement to the sanctuary. It's the most direct route from one to the other.
You come up over here, you're actually right on the edge of the cliffs and the sea. Can you see over there?
Yeah.
Well, we know there's a connection, early burials along cliffs, sanctified sites there, and we're looking towards a sanctified site over yonder. And as you come along this path here, you see how you come down here?
Oh, this is definitely
channel.
cut out, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
This is human, yeah.
As you come down, there's what appears to be a set of steps.
Definitely.
They may be foot worn, but they're artificial, aren't they? And if you come here, you can see behind you, there's a double-faced wall, typical of the sort of walls we've got.
You think this whole thing is one massive wall?
I do, yes.
You wouldn't just get that up on a mountain path,
You
would
wouldn't,
you?
would you? You see how it encloses this big area of
so
stones and
beautiful.
clefts and so on. It feels mystical in a way, doesn't it?
Half of me is saying, oh wow, this is amazing, all these Copper Age people dressed in robes on their way to the sanctuary. And the other half of me is saying, it could be a load of tosh, these could just be stones sticking out of the ground.
I've got the same feelings myself, unfortunately, but archaeologically you have to establish there's a sanctuary over there, it's an important site, you've got settlement over there.
They've got to get from one to the other. But will Mick buy this?
I don't think Mick would buy it in 1,000 years, but there's archaeological evidence here. We've seen the walls, and it'd be nice over a period of time. I don't think we can do anything in 3 days.
We can't prove it this weekend.
But Bill, over a longer period of time, if we point him at this, he'll be able to answer some of the questions we can't.
Is there any more?
The path continues for quite a way. It just continues round the cliffs.
But as the day nears its end, the chances of finding a Beaker dwelling, let alone a settlement at the Maze, seem to be receding. The test pits at the top of the site have hit bedrock with no finds. Those nearest the Clapare haven't hit anything. And no one will put a date on the wall still being uncovered in the Clapare trench. Ominously, they've had no Copper Age finds from here. In the incident room, Sue's busy reconstructing our few Beaker sherds, watched by 2-week-old daughter Millie, while Millie's dad struggles with the 3D map. It seems to be taking forever to get the GPS data. And just outside, Phil's had to recruit 2 passing Americans to help him build a kiln for the copper smelting. It all seems to be a bit uphill.
Have you got
So it's about time for some good news. And at the sanctuary, geophysics look as if they might have some.
What are we looking at?
OK, well, basically we've looked at this flat area here.
Right.
It's only a small area from our point of view, about 10 metres, 7 metres. We've gone in with magsus and resistance. So we're looking for magnetic contrasts between any walls, boulders and the soil, and then for any electrical contrasts, if there's any wall lines and so on. And we've actually got some positive results.
Yeah.
Well, what have we got then?
We've got what looks like a linear coming through here.
What, through towards where these boulders are?
Yeah, right over there, yeah.
Would that be buildings, occupation?
Well, it looks as though there might be a wall line through here with the build-up of soil on either side.
Okay, well that's...
Well,
I mean, that's encouraging in its own right, isn't it?
It's amazing.
On that positive note, Time Team gather a few miles down the road at Bill and his wife Jackie's house to make the final excavation of the day. Can we get to the bottom of this fantastic Mallorquin paella? And tomorrow, can we get to the bottom of our 2 remaining sites? Can we find out what the Beakers lived in at the maze and what they worshipped in at the sanctuary?
Well, here's to a great bunch, huh?
Cheers,
Cheers,
Bill.
Bill.
Good help.
Cheers, cheers.
Join us after the break. If this wall was part of a Beaker building, these diggers should be coming up with lots of Copper Age finds. Well, early this morning, they finally got some, so it still could be. But the bulk of pottery has been Roman and Iron Age.
That's the classical stuff.
So this is all Roman?
Yes, all of that sort of date, anyhow. Huge pieces coming out. But then we've also got... Oh, that's a hammerstone there. This is Bronze Age, Iron Age stuff in here. You can see the difference. Some quite nice pieces coming out there. And we've just found a few bits of Copper Age stuff, which would have been contemporary with the Beakers, just starting to come out.
But if you've got pottery from 3 different periods, can you tell what age that wall was?
Well, not at the moment, because it's all mixed up together. What we need is pottery in separate layers.
Yeah.
In this trench, we've got something really exciting, where we are starting to get distinct layers. We put in these test pits.
Yes.
And in this one, hello Pep, we decided to, because they're quite hard work digging these test pits, it's very dry, hard soil, we decided to just take down one side of it to see how deep it went, and we found that, and that is Bronze Age. There are 2 Roman layers on top of this, then we've got the Bronze Age layer, and we're still not down onto the red soil, which is the Copper Age.
So we could get the Copper Age underneath that.
That's what we're hoping.
So we would be able to date it really clearly.
That's exactly what we're hoping. You ready to take that out, Pep?
I think so. It's one piece.
Oh, it's crumbling, isn't it?
That's where I hit it with the pick. So that's
sure?
why it's crumbling.
And that's the last piece.
Oh, it's lovely. It's so nice.
On which way it went now? Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right.
Brilliant. While Pep digs deeper in search of a Copper Age layer, outside the incident room, Phil and Bill are pulverising copper ore.
Well, that looks...
Yeah, it's the smaller pieces you can get. We don't want to make it a powder because then it'll disappear in the kiln.
Right.
But if it won't break, don't worry about it.
I mean, is this good quality ore, do you reckon?
I think it's very poor quality ore, to be honest with you, but it's enough. You can see here, there's a nice piece of...
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, that is...
That's nice and rich.
That is, isn't it?
But then comes the part Phil's been dreading. To stop the crushed ore disintegrating in the furnace, he's got to bind it in horse dung.
That is pretty disgusting.
Well, you can have that job.
And
you can make your sausages,
tell you what,
and I'll tell you, would you like to spit on it a little bit?
No. Horse dung sausages. Well, I've done some things in my time, but this is going to be one of the best.
But that's the easy bit. To smelt the ore, Phil's got to get the kiln to over 1,000 degrees centigrade, and that's going to mean lots of bellowing. At the sanctuary, Bill's decided the wall geophysics found yesterday is part of a modern terrace. He thinks the Copper Age sanctuary is more likely to be closer to the Iron Age building, so that's where Mick's digging. There's even less topsoil here than at the maze, so we'll soon find out if he's right. Especially as Phil's turned up to supply extra digging power. Leaving Steve, who'd nipped out for a break from his map, temporarily stranded on the bellows.
John, Paul, just the people.
Listen, I've really got to get back in the chapel and get on some 3D landmass.
Come on, they need the experts. That's why we've been called in.
Do you know what you're doing?
No, I don't.
Just make sure you open it at the bottom and pull up, just so it doesn't suck any air back in. Let the flame back in.
Do you want me
Look,
to?
All right. Good luck. You're going to enjoy this.
I'll do the work. You do the talk, okay?
All right. See you later.
Hello, Bill. It's John at this end.
Can you tell us what we're meant to be doing with the bellows over? What does the fire look like?
I've only just arrived. I'll have a look. Hello, Bill. It's glowing red at the bottom, but...
There's only half full of charcoal. Do we need any more?
You've got all of the ore in already?
I don't know about the ore, Bill.
All I've been told is to add charcoal.
It's not a question of charcoal, now it's a question of air and muscle power.
Air and muscle power. Shall I have a go?
You're not going to get that fire up high enough if you don't put muscle into it, I can tell you that. So bellow, fellow.
By lunchtime, it's still not clear whether this is a Beaker wall, and the test pits haven't reached the Copper Age layer either. But yesterday's surface finds mean there must be a Beaker building here somewhere, so Pep and Carenza are ploughing on. Whether they find the building or not, we've got lots of information from the maze that'll help Bill in the future. Steve's compiling it onto the 3D map. Onto a plan showing the Clapare and the rock outcrop, he's plotted Carenza's path and the test pits. Pep's pot came from this one. And the distribution map of Copper Age finds will help Bill decide where to dig when we've gone.
I mean, look at that. That's just bedrock all the way across.
It's pretty well, isn't it?
I'm getting straight down onto it.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's there's nothing sort of really solid there.
Well, I reckon it's okay. We clearly haven't got it here. But,
no.
Bill, come and have a look at this, will you?
In fact, none of the sanctuary trenches have hit structures, but at least Bill's has produced more evidence that there was a sanctuary here in the Copper Age.
Show Phil that bit of early pots,
this is really
because
great
that's...
stuff. This is what we're really looking for. Unfortunately, I put a pick in it.
Oh, well. It's the best finds are always found like that.
So what date's this, Bill?
This stuff is the real stuff. This is the really old material. This could be anywhere from 2,000, 2,500.
Right.
If I was finding this in caves, I'd say that it could even be older than that.
Right, so it's the early stuff you've had off this site.
It's domestic ware. It's not Beaker ware, but it's domestic ware, and it is the oldest stuff that we've got.
Can I actually have a look at it?
Yeah. If I can get it together, I gave it a mighty whack here. There we go. Okay, you hold that, and I'll put the pieces on for you. That way, right there. There it is.
That way up?
That's it. Right.
So that's
you've got not that way.
Not that way.
That way, right straight up like that.
Any the wiser? Nor am I. Luckily, Sue has been able to reconstruct it. It's a domestic pot from early Beaker times. It would have been about 6 inches high, with straight sides, a flat bottom, and lug holes, so it could be hung on a wall. Which suggests there must have been a Copper Age building here somewhere. The horse-dung sausages are in the furnace, but the heat's still too low, and John's running out of energy on the bellows. It's time to cheat.
John, here comes the fan. Been out the way.
That's what you can do, just connect.
Just open it up for me, John.
Do you want to fire it up first, though?
Open it up. Go on.
Beaker copper smelters will be turning in their burial mounds.
Hello, Mick.
Yeah, hi there.
Mick's last chance to prove there was a Copper Age sanctuary here lies with our astroarchaeologist, and he thinks he's cracked it.
Now, we look up this valley.
Yep.
And we've got the hill on the left, the hill on the right.
Right, yeah.
And we're living in 2000 BC.
Yeah. 2000 BC?
2000 BC.
That's the date you've come up with?
Well, for example.
For example.
Right. And as night falls, from the left-hand hill, there emerges the sensational appearance of the Southern Cross, and it would look just beautiful. It looks beautiful anywhere now, to anybody.
I've never seen it.
But to see it framed in those two hills would be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Then you have to remember that because of the tilt of the Earth's axis, year by year, century by century, this Southern Cross would get lower and lower until the bottom star of the cross was no longer visible.
Right.
And that was about the year 1700, 1700 years before Christ.
BC,
And so it would seem to me that at that date something really serious happened here.
Right.
Because what I imagine them as looking towards and possibly even worshipping if they identified the constellation with a god like they did in Egypt,
disappearing in front of their
suddenly
eyes.
disappearing in front of their eyes.
Yeah.
800 BC.
Astonishingly, this theory is supported by the previous findings of Bill's radiocarbon dating expert.
I have dates here from 2000 to 200 BC until 1740, and then I have a gap of 400 years. So the site looks abandoned for 400 years until another culture comes in much later, around 1300 BC.
So it looks like the sighting stone is the only remaining part of the Beaker sanctuary. The rest of the building would have been abandoned or even destroyed when the object of the Beaker's worship fell from the sky in 1700 BC. The rubble may have been reused to build the sanctuary we see today. It's 5 o'clock on day 3 and the weather's closing in. The kiln now looks fantastic, which is more than can be said for Phil.
Well, what can I say? This isn't compulsory dress. This wasn't in the contract.
It was needs must when it rained, that's all.
You want to watch you don't melt.
I know. This is...
It's going brilliantly though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look at that. Now, that...
We'd have never got that with the bellows.
Whoa!
Whoa! It's still just red, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that is going to be really hot down in there.
Whoa! That's glowing really orange.
That's as hot as we've had it, yeah, isn't it?
That's yellow, isn't it?
That is hot.
But will it be hot enough to get copper? By 6 o'clock, the test pits have hit the bottom without hitting the Beaker building. And nor is it the wall in the Clapare Trench, which Pep now thinks is part of an Iron Age building. Nevertheless, it's been a profitable weekend here, because not only have we found enough Copper Age pottery on the site to be sure that there was a Beaker building here, we've also narrowed the area it could be in. And of course, the stretch of wall means Bill may be able to add an Iron Age settlement to his collection. What are you doing with the Copper Age generator then?
That's it. We're done.
Does it matter if stuff falls in?
No, it ain't, sir.
Considering... Pull it back anymore? Or...
Yeah, we'll have the whole shooting match off, the whole superstructure, as you might call it.
What do you reckon the chances are of us getting some copper out of here, Phil?
God knows, Tony. I mean, I'll tell you what, it won't be for the sake of trying. I mean, we've put a lot of work into this, and I mean, we've had doubts, and then I suppose we've had bits where it's gone, you know, you think, yeah, we're really going to do it. And then
I thought there was going to be punch-ups earlier on.
Well, you know, I'm sort of like betwixt and between. One half of me says, yeah, it's really going to work, and the other half of me says, well, maybe it ain't.
This is the maze and this is the sanctuary here.
It's 7 o'clock and the 3D map is finally ready for the official viewing. This will be the first time Bill's seen in detail how the three sites relate to each other.
I hope I'm going to get it.
Copy.
Oh, I see. That's going down to the sea.
At the top, Bill's Beaker settlement at Sonalesa. The huge perimeter would have enclosed these communal houses, which would have been directly connected to a water supply by a stone channel carved into the rock. 800 yards along the coast, our main site, the Maze, home probably to a small group of Beaker Folk and certainly to an Iron Age community. Its inhabitants might have walked through the gap in the rock outcrop, along Stuart's clifftop path, to worship at the Iron Age sanctuary building at Son Mas. More than 1,000 years earlier in the Copper Age, the sanctuary would have looked like this, a bit like the British Beaker sanctuaries at Stonehenge and Avebury. Here, the Beaker inhabitants of Sonalesa and the Maze would have gazed on the Southern Cross until it fell from the sky in 1700 BC. Bill, what do you reckon on Phil's first attempt at copper smelting?
I think it was a success.
Never doubted it for a minute.
You call this a success?
I would call that a success.
Because?
Because that is copper, my friend. That is copper.
So we got there by the skin of our teeth?
You got that through the skin of your teeth. You got there.
Well, that just about sums up this weekend, I think. We just about managed it logistically. I think we just about got there on the dates. And we got this little bit of copper. But given that this is the first step between the Stone Age and late 20th century computers, I don't think we did too bad. I think we could say that Phil did marginally better than most Stone Age men.